Jenny, I'll put you in the waiting room, and we're gonna go live here in like 2 seconds. All
Okay,
right,
cool.
all right, thanks. YouTube, get ready. We're about to get this party started. All right, Coley, I'm gonna mute you, and then we'll if you can mute yourself, that is, I'll be right. We're gonna start here in a second.
Keith and Coley, they're ready to go. Talking about aliens, UFOs, and the unknown. The talk show is buzzing, the excitement grows. Exploring the mysteries that the universe holds. Get ready to dive into the world of the paranormal. Welcome to the Coley and Marty Show, where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. Strap in and get ready for a wild ride for sure. Fearless and bold, not afraid to ask questions that challenge all we think we grasp. Every episode brings a new task to uncover the truth beneath the mask. Believe in the unbelievable. Open your mind. Welcome to the Coley and Marty Show, where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. Strap in and get ready for a wild ride for sure. Welcome to the Coley and Marky Show, where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. Strap in and get ready for a wild ride for sure. Welcome to the Coley and Marky Show, where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. Strap in and get ready for a wild ride for sure.
Strap in, everybody. Welcome to the Coley and Marquis Show. Coley, what's up? We are live right now. Don't worry, don't worry. Our cameras are not live just yet. But I want to say what's up to everybody, and I want to thank you all for being here. D-Worm and Scott Ross and the first ones in the chat, of course, today. I'm not surprised. I know we got plenty more people coming in here soon, so I want to say what's up to you guys now, and then we'll give some more shout-outs to the rest of the crew whenever you guys all get in here. We're going to be here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to put our video feed up here in just a second here. But we got a really interesting guest today. Tonight, we're going to get real creepy. We're going to get paranormal. It's going to be a haunting experience because our guest actually explores these kind of things. She explores haunted houses, and she even does things like graveyard photography. She's an artist. She's quite an interesting person. She's also a vegan, which is something that I wish I could do. I wish I could, invest the time that it takes, and I'm sure she's going to correct me on this. I feel like it takes a lot of time to be vegan. I think that it takes a lot of time to prepare your meals and to even find the meals that you can make for the proper lifestyle, to be respectful, to be on point, aligned with that vegan lifestyle. That's tough.
But
Now,
you don't get fast food though. That's not easier.
I don't do fast food, but I do French fries on occasion. So they're and listen, French fries like at like Sheets or something like that, and then on occasion, and I eat A lot of ice cream. So my diet is relatively good. I have a
Human.
pretty. What's up?
Do you know what it's in ice cream? You should check
You,
out the
if
ingredients
you
of what
tell
you're
me
eating.
what's in ice cream, we're not friends anymore. You understand that? Don't do it,
Oh.
Coley. Preserve our friendship, okay? Preserve it.
Well, we
Don't
won't
you?
say human hair is
Oh
not one
no,
of the ingredients when you look
Coley.
at what it's broke down.
Ah,
Human hair.
I'm bringing our guest on,
Uh,
Jenny. I hope you're ready because Coley is breaking my heart right now. You know, she's hurting. I'm hurting right now. Jenny, we're gonna bring you in. So, Jenny, what's up?
Hi, how are you guys?
Hello, welcome.
Happy to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure to have you here. So tell everybody. I kind of gave them an idea of what you represent in terms of your field of expertise. But why don't you tell everybody what you do and why you're here tonight?
I am here tonight to discuss aliens
Ooh.
and what are your guys' opinions about them and how you feel about it. And what I mostly do is ghost.
Yeah,
But
we do ghosts.
We do
okay,
everything.
cool.
We do everything.
Yeah, we do a ghost, Bigfoot, the unknown, you name it, we do it. Yeah. But if you have some UFO questions for us too, we can take it. But we definitely loved I'm paranormal at heart. I grew up seeing spirits, and I used to do like I still have like really cool equipment. Like I have my I thought it was right by me, but like my spirit box, and it's like a
Oh,
amp, and I've got like the the EVPs, I got the you name it, EMFs, millimeters galore. So so I'm totally into the paranormal. So I'd love to hear about that.
well, when I was very young, I lived in a place called Shepherdsville, and I saw a man who told me he was my grandfather, and I didn't know it was my grandfather. And I described him what he looked like to my mom, and it kind of went through there. And she was helping a palm reader get groceries, and they took me to the palm reader, and they just told my mom to basically embrace my gift that I have and not to scare me with this about spirits. Ask if I had any visitors that would come to see me.
Mm. So where's your
Yeah, I
accent
get
come
that.
from, Jenny?
My accent?
Yeah, where's that come from?
Kentucky.
Kentucky. You got a couple of things going on there. You got like a mix of accents. So I was trying to figure out where it's from. I used to live
Yeah.
in Muhlenberg, Kentucky. I loved it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was beautiful. There was, I mean, I love like greenery, so there was nothing but it's like lush, like forest land and stuff like that. Where I was anyway, Muhlenberg, it was beautiful. It was beautiful. So yeah, so okay, so Jenny from Kentucky with paranormal experiences. What are your experiences with the or at least your understanding of the UFO phenomena? Do you think that what's your perspective first before I even go into the questions I have for you?
Have you
I do.
seen one? Are you an
Oh,
experiencer? Sorry. I have to ask because your ability sounds like a little bit like mine as a kid. So did you also experience UFOs or ET?
I've seen very strange stuff in the sky, so I do believe
Okay.
definitely.
So
Um,
And when you were growing up, could you see spirits, communicate with them? Like, did they give you like, they tell you you're a medium, a channeler, or like anything like that? Where,
Nothing like that. It was kind of like, as we're talking now, they think they're alive.
yeah.
So,
oh yeah, some definitely do. They don't know that they're gone yet. That's definitely, yeah. So your connection before we went into it, because I'm just curious. I always like to make note of that, just because we had a few guests. We had Preston and Dolly on a few weeks ago, and that was one of the things that they said. So I just heard it and I wanted to take notation of it. So do carry on. Sorry, Marquise, too.
No, it's
no,
cool.
you're um no, it just happens like anywhere I go, it's like there's something there, it feels like. So, it's weird. What I believe in the afterlife is energy. So,
Mm. This is interesting because, you know, I think that the phenomenon, and I only say the word phenomena because it's the new thing, um, but I think that it's all connected. I think that UFOs, paranormal I don't think there's necessarily a distinction per se. So, oh, by the way, what's up, Bryson and Lex? I see y'all in the chat. Timothy Man, D Worm, what's good? I
Hey
think that
guys.
yeah, I think it's connected. I think that you mentioned about how these
Someone had a
ent-
really good explanation for it, and I wish I could
probably
remember what it
me.
was.
No, I'm just kidding.
I thinking about it. No, maybe it was you, Marquise. No, they explained why we weren't able to basically like the antimatter, how we're not, like we can only 3% of the spectrum, or whatever.
Yeah, I
That
think
they
that's
exist, but like we just, and that's what that antimatter is. But I don't
so.
know. There's
There's
certain
a
things like there's rules. There's definitely rules because they can't tell you everything. Like when we communicate with them, like there's certain things that's almost like
They're
it's
limited, yeah.
out. Yeah, they're not allowed. There's it's very bizarre when you experience it, but yeah, they're not allowed to say everything. So that makes me always think that there has to be a controller in this in some way. Do you know what I mean? Because
Most definitely. I
like
think
UFOs, like I said, there was rules to this game. If you know it, there's rules to it. And like they're not just coming in here and blowing us up or anything. There's like literally rules to it. I believe that. I firmly believe that, and I believe that with the paranormal. So I'm just kind of wondering what do you guys think?
I definitely think so. What I experienced with spirits, like you would ask them about the afterlife, they can only tell like certain things. And like with
Mm-hmm.
aliens, you know. And what is the deal with the ocean and aliens now? Do you think it's connected to Atlantis?
I think that that's part of it. The idea that there's a couple of theories about Atlantis. There's quite a few actually. The main one that I'm kind of more interested in is the idea of what they call crypto-terrestrial, which is just beings that they may be us, they may be other creatures. There was a suggestion in a scientific paper that we read on live a few weeks ago. There was actually a paper that was released, kind of speculating about the potential for these beings being, believe it or not, evolutionary reptilians who have evolved to be intelligent and create technology and so forth. There's a lot of other potentials in that article, but one of them was that. And then there are the crypto-terrestrials, these beings that have lived here forever. Well, not forever, but longer than us. They've been here before we were. They've just either gone underground, or they're hiding potentially in another frequency just beyond ours. You mentioned earlier, Corey,
Right.
about the multiverse. I actually have something I want to say about that, but I'll wait. I'll save it for a little bit later. But the nature of
Well, I just know that Rick Toady told me that I know it's like you can't believe everything he says because he has counterintelligence, but that there are 5 different kinds and that we're well aware of it, at least five or
right,
six, and that they all have different environments they need. Like some don't require food, some require food, some don't require food or water, some require certain temperatures. So the United States government has, he's saying, have been conducive to those needs of each species. So I don't know, you could take it for what it's worth, but that kind of makes sense. Not we just assume, oh, they're aliens, they're all smart, they're all good, or they're all bad, or we don't assume that, we're the only ones that have this duality going on, because that would be pretty naive. Because you know what I mean? So
Right.
I don't know. So I really think that there's got to be rules to this game. I just have not figured that part out. So, Chad, if you have any ideas at all or understand what I'm even trying to say,
yeah, hit us
it's
up in the
hard to
comment
explain
section.
or put into words, But I know there's like certain, why can't they tell you everything then, or why do they keep it so. So it has to have something to do with our own evolutionary purpose or our mission on why we're here.
Agreed. Yeah.
You said a lot of things. You said like evolution, and you're talking about. So hold on. I'm a little bit cerebral. I think we all know this, but Donald Hoffman, one of my favorite intellectual thinkers in the scientific community at the moment, he wrote a book called "The Case Against Reality," and I haven't gone over the book entirely yet, so I'm not gonna pontificate without more information about it. But I have watched his talks, and he talks about how our perceptions are they're actually not they're not true reality. They're actually deceiving us.
Mm-mm.
They're leading us
Yes.
away from the truth about reality. And he actually is controversial in the scientific community because they're like, well, This is what there is. So what does it matter if there's subatomic particles that are all over the place, and essentially there's quantum entanglement and everything exists all at once, and time and space is an illusion. What does any of that matter when we experience this here? And he suggests that by understanding with science in conjunction with the study of consciousness, by engaging and converging these two fields together, you could potentially transcend the human experience towards something far more real, and more profound than what we have today. You could see something, for example,
I can believe that. I believe that. That wouldn't take much today.
It wouldn't.
No. How do we get there? Let's do it.
We have to
We
convert
need a
science
little
and,
push
yeah,
back to normal.
It's actually, and this is something that I have, again, I'm kind of on board with this thinking. It's when you get the scientific community. I mean, I know you don't like these names, but Gary Nolan is literally helping with that scientific coalition of the coalition for UAP.
For the majority, I don't, but I always listen to them because they have pieces of the truth too. I just don't think they're telling the majority of it. But yeah,
of course, I think they're holding back for sure. But I think that's what do. I mean, okay. So real quick, I sent that video in chat. That video of the YouTuber Vetted, where he kind of goes over the question of, well, if Grush and all these people have the information, why don't they just tell it? Well, for one, people have been running them through the dirt when they haven't told. They've at least got the conversation in the mainstream public. So why would they ever want to come forward with more and risk their safety when people are already abandoning them right now? They'd be dumb to do that. And for two,
do you think they got any good responses?
What do you mean? Of course, but not for many. But the second thing is, and I really want to get in Coley, grill me afterwards, because I know you differ from me on this one.
Sorry.
But the second thing is that Edward Snowden
yes,
is still running for his life today, because he revealed classified information to the public in our favor, and he's literally in the dust of history. Really, nobody really.
He's in
talks
Russia. Yeah, he can't
he's in
even
Russia hiding, and he has to constantly keep doing something new to stay relevant, because otherwise he might be in a more dire situation. So, and who's got his back? Who's out there talking about him? A few people on the internet. So why would someone like Grush, who could just do an Edward Snowden, do the same thing? It makes absolutely no logical sense. As a matter of fact, it's kind of it is an honestly, and I got to be careful, because sometimes I say some things that are a bit controversial myself. I don't think it's a very informed thought.
We don't censor. We speak.
I don't think it's an informed thinking process to say Grush should risk it all for me when you don't even like Grush. People don't even respect what he's done already. Why should he risk anything for a community that literally has been against him? So that's it. I put a lot out there, but to bring it back to this whole thing, Jenny, I think that we are looking at a reality that is kind of bleeding out, so to speak. It's bleeding in certain areas with these paranormal experiences, with the UFO phenomena, with Bigfoot sightings, with everything that I think it's all bleeding out. But I think it's all a part of the same thing. Maybe not the same, like, I don't think Bigfoot's UFOs, but I think wherever that phenomena, whatever that thing is, whatever the veil is that prevents us from seeing fully what these things are, I think that veil, it's the same for all of them. What's stopping us from being able to have direct experience, direct contact with these phenomena, I think the veil is the same, whatever that veil may be. And the veil could be just our perceptions blocking us from seeing the true nature of reality.
Either that, or some of us are born just a little bit different. Where it's easier. It's like,
Yeah.
Okay, I could learn how to cook.
Sorry,
I could
guys.
keep cooking. I could keep it, but I just absolutely suck at it. Suck. So why would I might eventually be able to cook something that is of, you know what I'm saying, of value, but
Yeah. Hold on one
so
second.
I feel like some of us are more,
Hello?
what's going on?
Mike, can you
Wish I
guys
could
hear
see
me?
over
Let me
here.
know if you guys hear anything different with is my voice any different right now? Does it sound louder
Why?
or quieter? Because they
No.
said
It's-
they said it's quiet. Hold on. The chat says my voice is really quiet.
Do you have it turned up on your
Yeah, it's pretty loud.
receivers?
Yeah, let me know, chat, if that fixes it. Sorry.
Sometimes the computer, though, loud is different
Yeah.
than your
True.
phone.
Yeah, let's fix that.
I've done that on accident before.
Let her cook. Sorry, Bryce. Cook, fam.
No, I
Like a
agree.
burn.
Some people are just born with some type of touch with the reality of paranormal, or they can talk to the dead somehow. I don't know. It's just different for everyone, I think, how it works. But like you said, I think it's all connected. Like, who is in charge, you know?
I
There's got to be
mean,
somebody.
well, see, this is where I have an issue with
Maybe
this
we
one.
have like a representative from each world, like they do in that. Have you ever seen that show? Oh, gosh, it's like he guy's in it, and he goes into the parallel. There's two worlds. Like he's married to his wife in one, but she's like so
I know
and
what you're
so,
talking
and
about.
then
Yeah, I know what you're talking
oh
about.
yeah.
I hate
And
that. I
it's
think it's a stupid movie. Sorry.
what?
But I
I was
get why
thinking,
people like it. A lot of people
do you
like
see
it.
how they had the council though, and
I,
they never really got to meet the
no,
council,
yeah,
but the
I got you.
council would meet in this little like,
Yeah, yeah.
and then that's all that they would. That's how I kind of see it.
Send me that movie. Maybe I'm thinking about something else. Maybe there's a different movie that I'm
It's
thinking
a
about.
series, yeah.
Yeah,
will.
maybe I'm
Really
thinking
good.
about something else then, because there's a movie that's very similar to what you're describing, and I hated it because it was a love story, and they wasted
Oh, no,
the
this-
paranormal aspect of it with this ridiculous love story. Which, by the way, I do love love stories, just not this one. But no,
Keep it
no,
up.
Jenny. So Jenny, so okay, so you've had experiences with the paranormal. You've seen some things in the sky. What do you think's going on?
I don't know who's in charge, but I don't know. It's always been with me. Even if I didn't want it, it would come find me, you know. I don't think it's something some people would tell me to turn it off. You can't turn it off, you know.
Yeah.
You kind of,
So-
it takes a lot of work. I was lucky enough to be in part of a group that taught, because they're really intrusive. When I first started, they would like bring addresses, want me to bring Christmas toys. I mean, like it was crazy. One guy, I remember I was working, and it was like in this like it was a fireworks there. So there's part of it, and it was like banging, like you could, I don't know how to explain it, like metal maybe, so we didn't blow up in there. I don't know. But the guy didn't realize that he had died, and there was a customer there, and all of a sudden you can just hear this, it's pounding on the outside. And then I was like, guys, like, what's going on? What's that? And I was like, oh, don't worry about that. You know, finished checking out. And then I was like, you cannot be pounding like that. But he was so desperate that he found somebody who could see him and talk to him. But, you know, I went to a group and learned how to control that and when to shift and when not, you know. So because it is I get that. It's very, very overwhelming. When it's starting to develop, but it's just not like, oh, I see people. No, I started seeing auras, and then they define themselves, and it's like over time it evolves. It's not just something like instantly like you have. If it is, it's not like how I experienced it anyway. But yeah, so I kind of understand that. But so do you feel right now that you're in control, or are they in control?
I feel like they're in control.
You got to get a handle on that, girl.
I don't
They're
know. I
gonna
mean, you say
drain your energy.
So look. This is you're okay. Surfing. All right, you guys ready for this? You
ride
ever
the wave.
has anybody ever surfed before? Chat, hit me up. Jenny, you ever surfed before? Okay, so Coley has. Have you, Jenny?
No.
I've never surfed either, but I've watched videos, and I can imagine what it's like to surf. But the one thing that I've heard from surfers in like movies and stuff is that Coley just said it. You ride the waves, and the waves, you can't control them. They're a force of nature. There's no controlling the waves. And if you don't respect the waves, you're going under. They'll take you out. And not only will they take you out, but once you're under, there is another force that is even more powerful than the wave above that can literally, again, it could be the end of you by one mistake. So you got to be trained. You have to respect the waves, and you have to be skilled at this thing. I think the same thing with these experiences. You may be able to engage with the experiences, but they're a wave. And these waves, this phenomena, these experiences, they're far more powerful than you will ever be. You may be able to ride them, you may be able to navigate in a really cool way, and you may be able to experience a lot of things that most people can't experience. But ultimately, that wave is not only outside of your control, it is far more powerful and impactful than you will ever be able to control. So when I think about engaging these experiences and this phenomena willingly, I take the words of people who have told us, like paranormal investigators, like people who have, like psychics who have talked about these phenomena over the years, where they say you need to be very careful. You actually shouldn't engage it. For one, you need to be mentally and emotionally stable, which
Yes.
most of us are not,
Protected by white light. Yeah.
and have to be trained. There's even a suggestion of seeking therapy, because if you go on into these places, they could bring out dark things within you. And more terrifying is that they have a mind of their own. They're literally, they're intelligent. These phenomena, these experiences, these entities that we're engaging with, they are intelligent, and they have a
I always
greater,
feel like I'm in control when I go in.
I think that's an illusion. You should be careful with that.
No, not necessarily, because when I go in and I start beating on the walls and pounding on the doors and jumping in their beds, and I start like, oh, you don't want me? I'm violating through their dresser drawers. You know, like
You're like a
that's
crazy
how
ex
I go
girlfriend.
in.
You remind me of that girl
Yeah,
on Scary
yeah,
Movie.
yeah.
You guys ever
Yeah,
see
and
Scary
so
Movie?
then they don't attach to me, but I've seen them attached to other people, and I
Oh,
always
no.
keep them. If not, I like, I do the spirits of the white light and love God stay with me. Spirits not of the white light and love God leave. That's what a medium had taught me 3 times to say that. Or you
Coley,
there's other ways of like doing it, but I'm telling you, when I go, I even wear my roller skates on some, and so I can get faster traction, because like institutions and things like that. We went to the Edinburgh Manor, and that one's huge. But I go around in my roller skates, and I was like, medicine time, anything that I sat in the thing, but never once I feel like I let go of any control. Like
hold
they
on.
weren't coming home with me.
Polly said something really, really interesting.
Oh, I love Polly's question.
Yeah, Polly said, my boy, her son, said, there are different dimensions inside and outside Earth. It's different. That is interesting, because I have heard, and I'm actually curious what you think about this, Jenny. That there's this quote that someone said, that the aliens won't reveal themselves because until we understand what space and spaceships are. Now that frustrated me, because it sounds so, it's
Who
beyond
said
vague.
that?
I think it was the ex-Israeli prime minister or whatever he was.
And what alien did he get that from?
I don't know. It was that
He's
article.
making up rules.
Well, I mean, maybe,
I
but
hate
there
when
was.
they make up rules.
So the thing that I think the point was that there is, well, think about what people have said about the craft, right? There's obviously accounts of the craft that talk
Right.
about time dilation, which is the experience of time
my
operating
son.
differently within these craft. There's a versus outside the craft. So there's a time dilation. They are
Yeah.
literally distorting space-time itself. I don't even know what does that mean for us? What is it? Are they in a different dimension? Is there another dimension contained inside
But
the craft?
if they're
are they
giving
outside of
us
space-time?
technology, why would they be waiting for us to figure out their technology? That's all I'm saying.
So
If
do
we
you
got
think that
all
they've
of
given
this
it?
alien tech, oh yeah, I think that there's always a trade-off.
Wait. So do you
You
think that
know?
they gave it to us, or do you think that we took it from them?
I don't think that we have the ability to take it from them unless you had maybe one who was superior down here. Then you brought the other people down. Then that would probably be how I'd see the government working out. Finding that guy failed and somebody could take him down, then they would probably recruit that alien as well. So I don't know as to how much contact we're assuming everybody's good, everybody's bad. I was like that. I was like, they're all good, And then I'm really been really thinking it. I'm like, not all humans are all good. It's like we got to come to some reality checks here. And if they're there just because, I mean, they don't do the things, whatever, that doesn't mean that they're all of our best interests. So I'm really going to start focusing and seeing, like there were different, like I said, the ones I experienced, I can tell you, but in the background, do I really know, the full, no, I don't. But I think it's worth exploring into that part just a little bit more. But
Jenny, hit us up.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts?
what do you think, Jenny?
I think they're among us living
Oh, for sure.
on Earth.
Interesting.
And I think
are they all reptilian, or do you think that?
Good or bad?
I think human, honestly.
Humanoid extraterrestrials live among us.
So you think they call it extraterrestrial, right? The idea that they're time travelers. They're us from the future. Is that what you think?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's similar to that.
Michael
you know.
Masters. Yeah, Michael Masters.
Why haven't my time traveler contacted me yet? Then I'm gonna be a little mad with this one.
What do you think about the experiences people talk about with like reptilians or greys? What do you think that is, Jenny?
I really don't know. Like, I haven't read too much on that, but my thoughts on this topic. Have you heard like the theory about the gray aliens in the 70s? All the kids were missing. The theory about the abductions and stuff.
Wait, what is?
Which one?
Give me, because there's a couple of events that were.
I wonder if that's Luigi's.
Yeah. Hit. What do you mean? Hit us up with those details, fam.
Like, there were just always kids missing or people missing in the 70s and 80s. It was just, I don't know. I've seen.
Oh, it's a white van phenomenon. Yeah. Dude, I grew up in the 70s.
So,
I remember all about it.
You guys ever see the movie? We've talked about this before. The chat's heard me. If you guys have followed me for the last forever, then you know this story. You ever see the movie or hear the movie The Fourth Kind?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Jenny,
I think so.
It is creepy. So, long story short,
I've seen them all, but
it's so creepy. I'm not going to give away the story, but the gist of it is that there's this alleged true story about some encounters that happened in Nome, Alaska. And the movie tries to, it alleges that there are real footage of these hypnosis sessions with experiencers, and then these recreations of those same experiences side by side during times of heightened emotion. So, for example, when they're in a therapy session where they're doing hypnosis and they're taking someone under and they're recalling these events, they'll put the live video, the alleged live recording of those sessions, and then people would be like freaking out about seeing these owls and stuff like that. And there was like these.
How easy it is to manipulate people? For
100%.
real.
But then you'd have to say that if that's the case, then who can trust any abduction experience? Because there are no real.
That's why
you
I
could say that about
because
anything.
I did that.
Oh,
Okay,
I'm
so
not gonna
for me,
be- yeah.
engaging you in a simple conversation, I'm affecting the dopamine in your brain. If we go into a back and forth, it's the serotonin. If I grab your hand and I just kind of press on it a little bit, and that will release the oxytocin in the brain. You can do a dual stimulation, and I can get in there and replace certain pictures with others, EMDR. It's all and it's done so easily. I mean, just by having you do this.
That would suggest that there are no real abduction experiences that people recall.
No,
because
I think there are, but I'm saying that people need to realize too, and I don't know how you would do this, but like in what you knew before and what you want after. I just don't want any influence over, because you can find the wrong person who can do all these things. I'm not saying
who would be the right person? Because David Jacobs he was taking people under, and he wrote a couple of books.
I could take people under.
Right. So the question
I'd have
is,
no motive to do it.
So the question
would
is,
I know anybody else?
No. Hold on. So the question I have is, because this is something that me and Coley, we have a lot of fun with these back and forth. At least I
know.
Do. So
I do too.
So okay, so check this out. So if you're suggesting that and this is kind of my concern with the UFO community at large. It seems as though any experience that people don't agree with, they attribute it to misidentification and misinterpretation and misperceptions. Any experience they do agree with ideologically, they say, "Oh, that must be real." And look, let me tell you why the experiences that these people are real versus these, and the reasons they're kind of arbitrary. They're excuses for why not to believe something, usually because there's a difference in belief and ideology. Example, that report that was done by Grant Cameron. I'm sorry, not Grant Cameron.
We have Grant coming on the show.
The report that was that abduction experience report that was done. Help me out, guys. I can't remember. This is gonna be really hard for me to pull up. But there was an abduction study that was done. There was a lot of data collected on like thousands of experiencers, and then
No, this is ringing a real bell. It's your buddy. What's his name? You talked about him yesterday.
Tom DeLonge, Jim Semivan. Well, it depends because they were they wanted to get that data.
I
And
have
they
all 3 of their surveys, and you know who is running it? Your CIA guy that you talked
John
about.
Ramirez.
Yep. And I have
So-
I have 3 of them that I
Yeah.
started the experiencers database. This is what I'm all salty about.
We'll talk about that.
And
Hold on.
okay.
Before we get to that, though.
okay,
Before we get to that.
go ahead.
Because the
remind
data,
me though.
the data
And I'll
was.
tell you what.
I'll remind you. I will not forget. The data. Chat, remind me.
Remind him, yeah.
The data. Hold on. The data was manipulated because the claim about the data was that the majority of people in that abduction experience had positive experiences. That is not true, and it took a very prominent author who was involved with the people involved in that study. I think her name was Linda, and I can't remember her last name at the moment. She was all over Twitter calling out people who were claiming that abduction study was mostly positive. It wasn't. That was not true. They were literally manipulating the data so that they can literally push an agenda. You know what that agenda was? Most experiences are good. Because the reality is, the data show that most experiences with contact with the phenomena, it's not good. It's very terrifying. It's very traumatic. It's very there's a lot of trauma and traumatizing that comes as a consequence of it. It wasn't mostly good. The exact opposite was true. But the data was used and manipulated to push that agenda that they're all here to help us and save us, and they want to be your best friend to push you to another level of evolution. Now, I've said this before, Jenny. I don't think that they're all bad. Coley said this. I don't think that they're all good either. The problem is that people will only accept narratives that fit their belief system about the phenomena. You have to be very careful about that, because if you don't take the data and then draw your perspective from the data, and you let people tell you their summation of the data, you're going to get a false narrative. And unfortunately, it's almost cult-like in the community, because what they're doing is they're taking the data, they're emulating the people they like. I'm not going to mention names, and then they're skewing the data based off the summation of the data from their favorite tweeter or whatever they are now. So it sucks. It's kind of unfortunate, because a lot of people are misled by these regurgitations of the summations of the data. But it is these people are very influential on Twitter, especially. There's a really, really, really popular, and I love this chick. She's literally my favorite tweeter.
Who is she?
I'm gonna pull her up
Me?
on.
Oh, you don't have to say
It's
such nice
Coley.
things about me,
No.
Marquis.
This chick is so informed.
Oh my gosh.
And Coley, why are you doing this to me, Coley? Now I gotta. Yes, it's Coley. It definitely is.
Who else, right?
I'm gonna find this chick. Anyway, while we're talking, I'll find her in a second. But the bottom line is, she's always posting quotes from research and researchers and authors and comments from experiencers that they tell a different story. They say that there's something to be concerned about. And my belief, Jenny, if I were to be so bold, is that there are multiple different, I don't know, intelligence factions, whatever, that are operating in conflict on this planet. Some human, but more powerful and more influential, some non-human. And I think the non-human ones are influencing humans to do their bidding on Earth. I don't know why they don't do it themselves, but mostly I think that they're using people. Peter Levenda, one of my faves, right? He's like my faves. He suggests, and not just by, I think this because I believe it, and one day I had an experience and that's why I believe it. Through his research and studies and investigations and talking to people and literally going into these secret society meetings, he went to some of these. He found out that there were these rituals that were being conducted by people in politics, like members of Congress and stuff like that. They were doing these rituals. What's up?
That was so weird, because I was thinking about it.
No way. No
Yeah.
way. We're vibing, Jenny. We're vibing right now.
Yeah, I know.
careful now what you think, Marquise will be on. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So
Dana, when we had on, she's like, and don't think anything in your head because I can hear it. And I'm like, that's funny.
So, which I believe is a real thing. So like, they're doing these rituals where they're contacting entities from the beyond. They're gaining influence and power, and they're using those connections. But the trade-off is that they are to influence the general public towards some aim. And that's these people, these pawns, these humans are pawns for these entities. And it is not in our favor. They actually, from what I understand, they prefer the chaos in this world. They want to perpetuate it because that's what, I don't know exactly why, but either they feed off the negative energy or they just enjoy the chaos in general. And here's the thing, you talked about good or bad. A lion isn't bad when you're around it. Let's just say you were walking around in the Amazon, right? And an anaconda comes up and just squishes your head right off, pops it right off, and it swallows you whole, right? Is it evil? Of course not. But you don't want to pet it. Probably not the best idea. If you go into the deserts of Africa and you're running around with zebras, like we used to do back in the day, my ancestors, you don't want to play with lions. Not because they're evil, because they'll eat your intestines like top ramen noodles without salt package. So when you think about these beings, if they are doing these things that to us are nefarious, to us are not in our best interest, it's not about whether they're good or evil. It's about whether or not that's beneficial to us. I think that we do need to dispel this idea of good and evil, because it turns people off that don't want to see that this might not be a good thing, because people are attributing almost a religious kind of like connotation to the phenomena. Oh, it's evil, it's demons, they're from, gods and but what if it's just an entity that its main source of food is negative energy? Is it evil for using us to get that? It needs to survive, just like lions need to survive. And they will literally slurp your intestines while you're screaming for life, and they'll be like, hey kids, come on, let's have this, dinner's ready. And their kids are coming over and they're just gnawing at your arms and legs while you're just still alive. Are they evil? The experience you're having isn't great, but that doesn't mean that they and their families are evil. It just means that the experience is not in your benefit. They were hungry.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we eat things like, animals, so maybe we just don't realize, they're all
Jenny, you understand this. You don't like human beings. I mean, you talk vegan. I and this is something I don't know. We can talk about that too eventually. I'd love to hear your perspective on veganism, because I think I think there's a moral obligation for humanity as a whole to be at least vegetarian, if not vegan. And then, of course, there's health benefits too. A moral obligation. We live in a world with other beings. We don't need to eat them for sustenance. We do for our enjoyment. Yes. We've essentially got to a point in civilization where we can transcend that need. We can create foods that are much healthier. We can help to produce better yields for crops.
I just don't feel that obligation yet.
It's not. I'm not saying that you have to. I'm not.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a vegan.
I'm nowhere.
Right?
I can barely cook.
It would be hypocritical of me to suggest that you should, because, I'm saying ideologically.
Some McDonald's French fries and dangle them.
Don't you do that to me.
Pull you back over. Yeah.
So my point is that, like, again, it's not about good and evil. It's about whether it's beneficial for us, and I don't think that this phenomena is all good for us. I really am genuinely sick to my stomach with concern for the perspective that they're all here to help us. That scares me, because it literally is the same thing as people suggesting that, hey, those lions out there, they're just like you. They're not just like you. They will eat you. And not only will they eat you, they won't feel bad about it. There's no social contract that lions have that says, you know what, we should only eat 3 humans a week, because if you eat more than that, it's not fair. Or we should only eat a gazelle or 2 a month, because we got to really ration the suffering of other creatures. We have that kind of consciousness and to think about the suffering of other beings. We clearly don't always live by that knowledge and awareness, but we have it. So I think that it is kind of a terrifying thought to think that it's all good, or vice versa, that it's all bad. It's just beneficial or not beneficial. That's kind of how I feel. So, pontification over. What's up, Ninja Bro? Yeah. So Jenny, what are your
another thing for you guys?
What's up?
My dad worked at GE and he experienced a UFO counter. They shut down the building. What do you think about that?
So
in New York, it happened too. Another GE.
Recently, or like
not most recently, no.
So I told the chat I met someone who talked about it. You know, some very interesting things. I met a few people who talked about not GE, but Air Force bases and military bases all over the world, but mostly here in the U.S. that have experienced like these red alerts or whatever they call them, where there's a craft that's hovering right above the. There was this one that that Ryan Graves mentions. He doesn't say he was there, but he mentions this base, this military base, where they saw a red rectangle that was just hovering above the base, ominously hovering above the base, and they all, you know, there was a stir and there was a lot of confusion and fear and all that stuff like that. I think that it happens more often than we know, because that's what. I will be honest with you. I do believe whistleblowers, not all of them, but I do believe that whistleblowers, for the most part, are they're experiencing more. They talk about experiencing. Ryan Graves and David Fravor said that, you know, hold on one sec, guys. We'll get to that. But Ryan Graves and David Fravor mentioned that these things are happening on a daily basis and have increased in frequency over the last, I don't know, 5 or so years, 3 to 5 years, that there's so much so that it was like, it was very concerned. Like, is there a coming, you know, event that they're preparing for? It kind of seems like they're preparing for something. Lou Elizondo, as much as I know many people don't like him, I do. He said that he doesn't say this is what's happening, but he suggested that there may be a preparation for the battlefield, that the activity is as if they are preparing for something. He called it preparation for the battlefield. Some might say, he said, that it's preparation for the battlefields.
Who are they battling?
Well, that's difficult to say. So, like,
because they've gone out of their way to keep us alive so they could come in and battle us.
So here's what I think, based off of what has been said. I think that, you know, several thousand years ago, the Bhagavad Gita mentioned a war of gods in space, in the skies. They were cylindrical in different shapes, and they were like, the sun was fighting and stuff like that. There was all kinds of lights in the sky and explosions. They talked about that in the Bhagavad Gita. That was like 6,000, I don't know how many thousands of years ago. The Mayans talked about the gods, right? The Anunnaki were not our friends. They did not only not like us, they use us as slaves. They said they'll be back for us. Like, let's not be oblivious here. Like, there's clearly some kind of conflict going on, a cosmic conflict of some kind, if not many, and human beings are in the center of it. We've been able to have the luxury of progressing technologically over the last 1,000 or 2,000 or so years. But you think that's going to last forever? If it's been talked about for thousands and thousands of years, that there have been these battles and that humans are in the middle of it, and that we've had to sacrifice our own people for the gods, and we've had to you think that we might not you think that we're just escaping it now? I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. So yeah, so that's what I think. I think that if when it comes to who are they preparing, I think they're preparing either for someone else, or maybe they're going to use us. Maybe they're going to use us. Maybe the battle isn't about this life. Maybe, Jenny, the battle is about the afterlife. Maybe it's like, maybe they're preparing for a mass event that we're already going to experience, which is why they haven't done anything. Maybe a global catastrophe that we've kind of brought onto ourselves. Maybe one that's just going to happen anyway. You know, they talk about these the Earth's core changing and the magnetosphere changing and the currents are are stopping or something like that. You talk about all these things there's solar
Reversing, yeah.
flares, there's an increase in solar radiation that's really concerning. By the way, like you guys don't know, but next year we're gonna have some serious problems. If not, do you think this year was any indication of that? NASA released a paper where they suggested that it's going to be similar to Day After Tomorrow. Please Google the trailer. Like, I think that potentially they're preparing for something that we're gonna experience. That's what I think.
Why would NASA prepare for anything?
If the world is going to experience a cataclysm that no one
So
can
they're
escape,
saying
why
that the
wouldn't
energy or what it's a cost? Because I think like I'm just wondering the parameters of NASA and like what it would have to be that they would pick it up. You know, obviously wouldn't just.
Well, I mean, they study the geological data and all this. Like they study solar radiation and they study. They study everything. Like I'm being very reductive here because I don't know. I'm not a NASA astronaut or scientist or astrologer. Like I don't know exactly. I have to read the report again or even bring it up here. But the report literally suggested the movie The Day After Tomorrow, which if you don't know, there are like every single natural disaster, but amplified and all at one time, like wiped out most of the earth. That was essentially what they suggested.
That's where they're gonna go to their underground bunkers. That's probably how they will wipe out. Because once AI comes, we become less and less needed as time goes on. So I could see something like that.
Well, Bryson, who is they? What do you mean by they? Like they?
The government.
I don't have a they. I'd never mentioned a they. The only they I mentioned was NASA.
Yeah, I do.
The only they I mentioned was NASA and the scientists that are studying the data. I don't know what you mean by they. The other
I
they
mean
would be...
they that control, because obviously it's not the president. There's people above and along the lines we've talked about Illuminati, we can say.
The Illuminati.
But things like that, the people who are controlling behind the scenes that you don't see, the little puppet masters. So that's when I revert to them or they. Like, I don't know every single name that's on that list, but they are the ones that are behind what's going on, in my opinion. So if I do say that and you need clarification, there's obviously a ton of speculation, but we followed it at a macro, not at a micro. So it almost becomes impossible if you go too small with stuff like that in the beginning. But yeah. So.
I want to give some shout outs to comments in this section. Polly says, my theory is government is aware of hybrids, meaning alien and human hybrids, or awakened as a threat for their lives. Reason why the battle is against us. I'll go over that real quick. But Scott Rosen says, what happened in Day After Tomorrow is now happening. A desalination of the Atlantic current. It's in the news. Yes. Thank you for...
Yeah, he is right.
So, Polly...
Why are we arguing this? Scott, thanks for just... Yeah.
Dolly actually talks about a coming cataclysm, right? She talks about that publicly, by the way. So that
some experiencers get that, though. They get that. I did not. Like that major, like, life event prediction. Like...
Yeah, I don't.
That's pretty known. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know anything for sure. I'm just saying, if I were to go based off the information that's available, I'm thinking that there is something coming. Now, to Polly's point here, Polly talks about a hybridization. Polly, correct me if I'm wrong. There is a theory that there is a hybrid race that wants to try to change the direction of where humans are going. They're trying to help us. They're trying to steer us away from our own destruction.
So they can battle us.
No, not. That's not the impression. I don't think this. So the theory is that I hope not, because we wouldn't win that war. But the theory, I think, and again, Polly, correct me, is that they're here to help us. They're trying to essentially tiptoe around these government bureaucrats and influence them in a non-aggressive and forceful way. Because they're of a higher consciousness than us, so therefore they have more compassion and understanding and stuff like that. So they can't interfere directly, but they're trying to help us indirectly and through lighter conversations and so forth to steer the world towards a better direction, because we're going in a bad direction. I believe
happening.
It's not doing a very good job. I think
no,
they're
how
doing
could
a terrible.
It? You cannot go in and compassionately relate to what our government has done. Like,
if that's
are they gonna?
Yeah, if that's the case, hybrids are they're failing miserably.
Miserably, yes. You got to be ruthless when you go in there. I'll give you a few pointers before you go, because if you take that love sweet, they're gonna eat you alive. Literally, will eat
Yeah,
you alive.
yeah. Well, oh my gosh, I don't think they want to eat us. Although there are
No,
people who
well,
believe
if
they do.
that's yeah. They, I mean, you're talking about like going. Imagine going to like our president or whatever and being like, "Good vibes, no war, peace, and I
Yeah,
want to help you." They're gonna say, Where's our money? Huh? Is our money gonna be transcendent? You won't need money in the. Yeah, get out of here. Boom.
there's a
They'd be
lot of
thrown out the door within 5
there's
minutes.
there's a lot to what you're saying. Polly says my theory is hybrids are here to help us. The government knows, as well as for awakened people. Do you guys ever hear of was there a Panjali? Oh my gosh, I can't remember her name, but she sat in front of the Pentagon, and she gave this talk. Help me out, chat. John Ramirez actually he kind of endorses her. She sat in it's like Panjali or Sanjali or something like that. She sat in front of the Pentagon and held a press conference where she claimed a lot of things. One of those things was that there are aliens, there are light beings, the government is aware of them, they are in communication with them, they used her to try to help communicate with them, and that they're here to help us. They're going to show themselves relatively soon, and they're here to help us. You guys, listen. I am
To remind me.
Yeah, I'm not inclined to. Oh yeah, sorry. We got 4 minutes before break.
No. I go for it. You take it. I'm just saying for after break.
I need greater convincing of any kind of positive influence. I do believe there's positive entities, beings out there. I do not for 1 second think that they're going to do anything with us in this life. I don't think it's not that they don't care. I don't think that this life is as important as we think it is, because we're only experiencing this experience. So to us, this is all there is. I think that if there are other entities that are for our benefit, I don't think they necessarily. I don't want to say care, but like I said, their interest is more about what happens to us afterwards, the eternal, the life after, the ethereal, the other dimension that we potentially our consciousness transcends to, whatever. I think that's what they're more interested in than this, because if they're interested in this life, again, not doing a very good job. I mean, we're continually descending into chaos. Polly,
Yeah,
of all
no, I
people,
don't
knows
think
that it's pretty bad for Polly over there. You know, she knows
No.
exactly what I'm talking about.
And
Jenny, I am so sorry. We have pontificated for this entire hour, Polly. I'm sorry, Jenny.
You speak for yourself, Marquise. Over here.
I've talked for this entire time.
No, I'm
I
joking.
think about it. No.
Yeah, I took a nap today, so I'm a little bit more, thoughtful.
Oh,
Have the energy
less
to have.
reading the room.
Yeah,
So, what are your views on Bigfoot?
that's a tough one. So like
I've never
for
seen a
for
Bigfoot.
me, yeah, for me, like my
thing.
my. You've never seen a Bigfoot before?
Mm-mm. I've looked. I've heard them, and because there's this, I guess, weird thing they do afterwards. But I've never physically seen.
I've
one.
never seen a Bigfoot.
Yeah, I'd look for them though.
Yeah.
Interesting. Hold on 1 second. We'll talk about that. So anyway, we got 2 minutes before break. I will say this about Bigfoot, okay? I think that there is obviously a creature. Everyone calls it Bigfoot. I think there are more than just that, by the way. I think that there's a creature called the Mohelium Bambi that is like a dinosaur. I think that there's a creature that is reptilian in nature that exists underground. Could be aliens. I don't know. I do kind of concede to the idea that there might be an intelligent reptilian race of beings that lives underground. I'm in. I don't know, but I'm open to that for sure. And I think that these creatures, these cryptids as they call them, again are either they're we don't know a lot about our Earth. There's a lot of things going on in the world that we don't know. We don't know what's in our oceans. We don't know what's underground. We have no freaking clue. We can't even go to Antarctica without, you know,
That's
It's
ridiculous.
awesome how we were thinking the same thing again.
straight vibing over here, Jenny. All right, so ladies, we're gonna go on our first break. When we come back, I want Coley to I feel like I've taken control this entire first hour. I enjoyed
maybe
it.
I'm just letting you set yourself up for it.
So
Wrap
Coley's
it.
she's getting ready
You
for the
just gotta
alley
sit
oop. You know,
back
she's about to snipe me with her.
and-
I got some
No,
facts for you,
no.
Marquise. Bam.
Let me see. Yep, I'll take
She's
these
a
few
camper.
minutes very productively.
She's camping. All right, guys, we're gonna go on our first break. So hang
yeah.
tight. We'll be right back, everybody. All right.
They're watching from the shadows, an intelligence beyond our own. Whistleblowers shouting warnings, researchers feeling all alone. We're blinded by our arrogance, thinking we're the only ones in control. But they've been among us, preparing for their role. This revelation is shock to our core. Are we ready for what's in store? Something is coming, we can feel it in the air. Our force so powerful, beyond compare. They've been trying to warn us, but we just don't care. We're not prepared, it's too much to bear. They're not like us, there's something more. Non-human intelligence knocking on our door. Whistleblowers risk it all. Researchers sounding the alarm once more, but we're too focused on ourselves. Blind to the signs of what's to come. Will we wake up in time, or will we be left numb? We've been warned, but will we listen? Something is coming, we can feel it in the air. Our force so powerful, beyond compare. They've been trying to warn us, but we just don't care. We're not prepared, it's too much to bear. They're not like us, there's something more. A non-human intelligence knocking on our door. Whistleblowers risking it all. Researchers sounding the alarm once more, but we're too focused on ourselves. Blind to the signs of what's to come. Will we wake up in time, or will we be left numb? We've been warned, but will we listen? Something is coming, we can feel it in the air. Our force so powerful, beyond compare. They've been trying to warn us, but we just don't care. We're not prepared, it's too much to bear. Something is coming, we can feel it in the air. Our force so powerful, beyond compare. They've been trying to warn us, but we just don't care. We're not prepared, it's too much to bear.
All right, chat. All right. We're coming back, everybody. We're back. Coley and Jenny, we are returning. You guys ready? Okay, so welcome back,
ready.
everybody.
I'm
Welcome
not
back.
quite ready, but I'm ready.
I'm ready. Don't worry. I'll be ready for both of us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Coley and Marquis Show. We have with us Jenny Floyd to talk about the paranormal, UFOs, and cryptid creatures today. We got to Bigfoot before we went to break. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to give some shout outs real quick because there's some people that came in. Lex, I miss you, man. I miss you dearly. It's good to see you in the chat too. Bryson, my boy out there, Bryson up in here talking that trash, talking that smack, questioning me. How dare you question me? Okay, how dare you question me? Although I do appreciate the questions. Ninja Bro 3000, what's up, man? I know who you are. That's my boy too. Silent Blade, one of our new followers. What's up, Silent Blade? Thanks. It's great to have you here. Thank you for being here. And anyone else who's lurking, because there's more than that in here in the chat. So there's some people lurking. Thank you, lurkers. I hope you're not hate watching, because I do that myself sometimes.
Please like and subscribe.
Please like and subscribe to the videos. Follow us on Facebook. If you're listening to the Helix Rock Radio side of things, what's up, radio? I hope you like the jams we got for you guys here tonight too. All right, so back to the conversation. Polly says it's 5:05 a.m. her time. Polly, you're just...
She is a trooper.
She's something special.
Trooper, I know.
She's something special. So, Jenny, you asked me about Bigfoot. Like I said, I really think, I do believe that there's too many people that are talking about an experience with this creature. I actually met someone at my job. Guys, people tell me things I can't believe they tell me. I don't work at a place where there's a lot of conversation to be had outside of the work that I do for people. And somehow, I always talk to people about the paranormal and UFOs and government conspiracies, which is exactly what we talk about here. I talked to these two girls. Their father, he runs a funeral home. And they told me about an experience they had in their garage where they heard this. It's in the middle of nowhere. They heard this creature pounding on the top of the garage. And it was banging and pounding and making loud noises and screams, and it came from all over the place. Like, it was in one place, and there would be somewhere else, and it'd be somewhere, and it was banging and banging and banging, and it was terrifying them. They were scared, and they could smell something really bad. And then all of a sudden, they heard this growl, this really low male kind of growl, but animalistic, and it was literally right behind them in the dark corner of the garage. Now, they admitted they were puffing the magic dragon. They were enjoying some cannabis therapy. But
well, that doesn't make you hallucinate.
That does not make you hallucinate like that. And so vividly and have the same hallucination. You could be tripping on acid, which I don't recommend. And to have the same experience like that, it's kind of unique. It's a bit more bizarre thing. Plus, some of these types of substances, actually people use them to engage with the phenomenon. I'm not saying about Bigfoot, but my point is that I don't discount their experience because they were enjoying the cannabis therapy. So that was an experience that these two girls, who they don't have any experience with the paranormal at all, except that one time. It happened to them. It was real. They were terrified telling it to me. I think it reminded me of Bigfoot, but it could have been paranormal. It could have been, I don't know. But I do think that when I hear about Bigfoot stories, it sounds paranormal. He'll be one place, he'll be in another place, he yells, he terrifies, he's just outside of your peripheral, but you never really get a good look at him. Not usually. Most people don't get a good look. Some people do. But most people, he's just outside the peripheral. Just outside of it. Or they just hear him. Or they just smell him. Or it sounds like he's all over the place. And what does it sound like to you? It sounds paranormal. I think Bigfoot is real. I think there's fur. I think there's evidence of his presence, but it's so rare. Just like the UFO phenomena, where there's metal pieces sometimes left in people's backyard, metal implants in people's body, just a little bit here and there, but it's almost like it's just outside our reality. But they leave little pieces behind to let us know, yes, there's something else going on here. This is not all there is. That's what I think. Yeah. Polly says, I don't think cannabis is an issue in this, especially because we suffer from PTSD as experiencers. It doesn't take our experiences or make it a lie. Some of the worst experiences I've ever had, I was completely sober. I don't drink alcohol. I don't do drugs. But I do believe in cannabis as therapy, 100%. And I haven't had any experiences whenever I've partaken in cannabis therapy. I haven't had any, not one, nothing. As a matter of fact, I feel like it kind of takes me away from the reality that there's something else. Sometimes it makes me feel a little less, it feels a lot of less anxiety and a lot less stress and a lot less fear of what the phenomenon makes me feel, which is fear and terror and overwhelming terror that I can't overcome it. It overtakes me. So yeah, yes, Polly, I think that, you know, I don't think that it does matter that people are partaking in cannabis. I don't think somebody who's drunk is necessarily lying about their experiences or deluded or hallucinating. You guys ever hear about Sean Cahill? Sean Cahill, he's kind of in the circle of Elizondo and the like. By the way, who I respect. Judge me. Sean Cahill talked about an experience he had when he was a bit tipsy. He had a few drinks. He mentioned an experience he had at nighttime. Speaking of which, when you're tired, a lot of people say, "Oh, you're tired," and so you're seeing things. He talked about an experience he had when he had woken up in the middle of the night. And I may be getting this wrong, but from what I remember, him and his wife were at home, and at some point they saw a being, a gray alien, outside their house, and it was just a very, very strange experience. I don't have the experience at the moment. I wish I could, pull up that clip, but I never clipped it. But I don't think that being tired or taking, cannabis or drink I don't think any of that discounts people's experiences. I don't think that at all. I think people absolutely know that they're experiencing something real. And yes, Polly, to your point, alcohol changes your behavior. It changes your equilibrium. I think you guys know what I mean by that. It doesn't make you hallucinate. I mean, you may see double vision, but you're not seeing freaking aliens jumping out of the... You ever see Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas? You're not seeing reptilians eating people on the table. They're not munching on people's intestines on a table in Las Vegas. So, to your point, Jenny, I think that it's real. I think that those things are 100% real. And what frustrates me and what upsets me is that a lot of people will not, a lot of normies, if you will. I was a normie at one point. Mm-hmm. Okay, I lied. I was never normal. But I had a normie lifestyle. I've always been a bit weird.
That's funny.
But I've lived a normal lifestyle. No cannabis, no alcohol, no nothing. Just because I'm a big health junkie. And, I think that people are experiencing something real. I just wish that people would respect those experiences. I have a friend, I told you guys about this last night when we talked, to Mike, that I have a friend, one day we may get him on here. He's a very intelligent guy, philosopher, armchair philosopher. And he's against these things entirely. He's totally against it. He's against, and I don't mean in opposition to, but I mean he rejects the premise. There is nothing else out there. The only thing that's out there is what we can see, feel, hear, taste, touch, and smell. Or smell and the like. You're not going to be able to perceive things outside of your perception. Okay? ESP isn't a thing other than to be not scoffed at, but to be seen as maybe a mental disorder or some kind of a hallucinogenic experience, and so forth. So he's all against that stuff. But the one thing that got him involved and at least interested, he's still a little bit hesitant to believe, but it was hearing from official sources that there's something else. Do you know what I think is really interesting for me? It's knowing that government officials are interested in the paranormal. Not just UFOs that the military has been engaging with forever, but the paranormal. Why would they be interested in the paranormal? Why would they be interested in demonology and rituals? Which, by the way, is documented in FBI. There's FBI archives that talk about them being involved in satanic rituals. Why? Why is Jack Parson even a part of the space program? Why? Why is Aleister Crowley connected to, that whole thing?
Oh,
Why?
yeah.
What the
Marina
like?
Bronovich, like it's just
It just doesn't make sense. Like, there's clearly something really bizarre and supernatural about our reality, and the government knows, and they're not telling us. They're keeping these things from us. So, and yeah, Paulie, John Ramirez talks about 2027. There's a deadline for disclosure.
2027 is what he says.
Yeah, he kind of suggests that they're coming. He suggests this. They're going to land on the White House lawn. There's going to be open. Stephen Bassett believes they're going to experience open contact soon. He doesn't say 2027, but he does say explicitly that he believes that there will be open contact. They believe that the fear, and listen, I'm not Stephen. I couldn't measure up to a man like Stephen Bassett. I just don't agree that what do you mean? I don't have the decades of research that he has. I've got like 2 or 3 years. I have to respect the man's
He'll
work.
get there.
Yeah, in a few decades, maybe we can talk about it. But until then, I'm among giants here. So, I just disagree that the fear that the government is that there's aliens. No, I absolutely think that there's something dark about the phenomena. There's something dark and sinister. And as has been said by people, again, I know many of you don't believe in this person, Peter Lavenda, insidious. Do you guys know what the word insidious means? Hold on one second. Chat, if you know what the word insidious means, while I pontificate further, allow me to Google the term so you can see the actual term. Hold on. The real definition of insidious. Because I do think that it's insidious. I absolutely think it is.
Slow. Look at it. I don't think that's the way you do it all. They switch it.
Chat, I got it up, but I want to know if anybody knows. Because this is what gets me, right? What gets me is that if you look at the phenomena and the research and the books, and you read the articles and you listen to the conversations that people have, if you listen to it, if you read it, then you can't conclude otherwise. You can't, unless you're purposefully oblivious to what's right in front of you. Yes, working or spreading harmfully in a subtle or stealthy manner. Okay, you Googled the definition, you son of a gun.
Who?
Bryson. He Googled it. So the definition.
Yeah, I said it was slow.
Yeah. According to
interjection of something harmful or something.
According to Webster, it's the meaning of insidious is having a gradual and cumulative effect. Subtle. That's what it means. So I'm not sure why you said spreading, harmful, but I think that I think what he means is like, think of like oil and water. It spreads and it gets kind of like whatever. So like if you were to dump a bucket of oil and water, it would spread. It's bad, but it happens in a very slow way. So that's what he means by spreading.
They're not compatible.
So right, oil and water are not. So I think that for this phenomena, I think that what the government knows is insidious. There has been and is still an insidious plot, and I don't think it's in our favor. I don't think humans are the ones behind it. I think they're involved, but I don't think they're the great orchestrators. Not at all. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions on here, buddy. John Ramirez.
Guys, please post them in all caps. I'm trying to read all the comments, so post the questions in all caps, please. Tomato, every English day. Bryson, you're right. I'm nitpicking. You're correct, sir. Please forgive me.
Nitpicking or cherry picking?
I was both, if you will. Both. So, Jenny, as I pontificated for another 30 minutes, I didn't even realize how long we've been doing this for. We've been, it's been over an hour. It's almost an hour and 20 minutes. And honestly, I've seriously just like, I feel like it hasn't been that long at all. Not even a little bit. Chief of
No,
the
it's flying by.
Yeah.
Do we have any other paranormal people in the chat right now?
I think everybody's had paranormal experiences, to be honest. I mean, it's literally everyone.
No, well, yeah, to have paranormal experience. I don't know if there's any investigators. Do you do investigations, Jenny? Right?
I think we might have lost Jenny for a moment here. We'll have to wait for Jenny to come back. But yeah, give us 1 second here, guys. I think we lost Jenny. I'm gonna have her try to come back in for us. If you can let Jenny know, see if she can jump back on. But I think she may have gotten disconnected. Yeah.
Find your way back.
Yeah, hit her up, see if she'll come back, see if she can jump back in. We lost her for a second. There's probably an internet issue. So yeah, Polly says my old house. Bryson said he's had experiences. Silent Blade asks, does the government know of any other alien species or have any more access to any other unknown tech? So, Silent Blade. Oh my goodness. It's a big question, man. Yeah, I don't know if she knew her mic was muted. I didn't even think about that. She was probably talking that whole time. Oh no. She'll jump back on. So, there have always been rumblings of the government being aware of multiple different species. If you've ever read the book Stranger at the Pentagon, or heard about what's his name?
Robert Dean.
No. Well, yes, but the alleged alien that was in the Pentagon. What was his name, Chad?
Oh, EB1.
EB1. No. That was
Or
the one that
EB2?
was held in captivity. This was a person. He allegedly was like an ambassador for a humanoid alien species that was very similar to us. They looked like us. If they walked among us, you couldn't tell the difference. And I will find out his
I
name.
missed this?
Oh my goodness.
He's
So
not, like,
allegedly,
somebody who's channeled through, right?
no, he
This
came.
is
He
like
was
a real
physically.
being?
He was allegedly physically. There's a book about it called "The Stranger at the Pentagon." It's really cool. So he allegedly was a humanoid, very human-like, Valiant Thor, Lex Diaz for the win. Valiant
Oh,
Thor.
Valiant Thor.
Yeah,
That's who
yeah.
Elizabeth or Laura has connections with.
Yeah,
Valiant
but
Thor.
we've
That's who I
never
always
gotten to
ask
that.
about.
We've never gotten to that yet. We got to get her in. We got to get her to next time she comes on. We're gonna talk. to
Yeah,
her about
she talked
Valiant
about
Thor.
him the first. Well,
Briefly,
I always
very
ask.
briefly. It was very brief. She did not.
Well,
go into
because I
detail.
think I'm the only one I always like, but I have to ask.
Yeah.
And I heard that there was some like confirmation. So yeah, Valiant Thor. Yeah, that's
So
a fascinating topic.
it's awesome. So Silent Blade. There was a real, and I won't say credible, but at least weighty, meaning it's of note, something that is to be taken note of. Allegation that there was a humanoid alien named Valiant Thor who looks like a white male with dark hair, very young but very old in age. He looks very young, but he is very old in age. They age differently than us, allegedly. And this person, this human-like being, was here to try to help us, to talk to the Pentagon for some kind of either information or technology exchange program with them. But whether that's true or not, I don't know. I wouldn't be too surprised if it were true, because come on now. But I don't think it was like to help us. You don't go to the U.S. Pentagon to help humanity.
No.
You don't go to the United States Pentagon.
Decisions.
Yeah, you're not here for that. Listen,
Yeah.
I don't want to insult people because I've been wrong, and I wouldn't want someone to insult me for being wrong. I want people to help me to see things, better, to inform me better, and to give me more information to change my perspective. So I can't jive or vibe with the belief that there are some benevolent aliens here working with the government to help us. I can't jive with the idea that they gave us technology because they want to, hey, humans, Here's a UFO. Figure it out. That
What
just
if
sounds
they gave it to a certain person up in government that could make things happen? They didn't have to give
like
it to
what?
everyone.
Make what happen?
I'm talking about technology. They're not going to hand it over and be like, "Oh, here you go, humanity." Because if they're intended to be harmful, they're going to put it over into the right hands, and
If
who
you
can
s-
put it out there.
Yeah, if you've seen what I've seen, I'm not sure if you'd feel the same way.
What do you mean? Explain that.
Someone showed me. I've seen a lot of things. I never know what to believe because you know.
Right.
But a while ago,
It was
before-
obviously significant enough for you to stop and watch it. So.
someone showed me. I'm sure many people in the field have seen like people like, oh, I want to show you something. Somebody of note showed me images of craft sitting in I don't know what you call those things, like it looked like when you see the aircraft or the vehicles like the airplanes and jets, they're in this like garage, this giant garage, and has a giant garage door. Somebody showed me
Luigi Donatelli? Luigi that's doing Lazar's recreation? Oh, okay.
I would not say. This person showed me a row of these craft in perfect shape. They were like all one solid chunk. And I don't know what they were for. I mean, they could have been just a hunk of metal. Who knows? Just melted and molded for some reason. It did not look fake. Then I saw the video of that same area. And not too long after.
What area is it in?
No idea. They wouldn't tell me. They just said, I want to show you something. And they sent it to me, and I deleted it, of course, afterwards. But they sent it to me, and I was like,
Like,
oh my
if you
gosh.
looked around, could you? I'm wondering if it looked like it was in the United States. If it were.
It was clearly in the U.S. Like 100% in the U.S. Yeah, that was obvious. There were soldiers around stuff. But like,
was there any other distinguishing fact? Like,
just
that you
the
can remember in
video. There
video?
was some American like Humvees. There was like 2 Humvees that were in the picture, and then there
Was
was
it like
this.
taken on a tarmac? Was it taken on?
So think of it like
in a big hangar.
It was in a giant hangar. They were on top of some kind of like little platform. They weren't that big. They were maybe the size. Like if I were to give them a size, I mean, I don't even know what to compare it to. They weren't that big. They just like if you took
They weren't drones.
if you took a jet and you doubled it but made it circular, like a whole circle or oval or
wow.
whatever, like a
That big,
oval or
okay.
something, it would be like that. They look like that. And there were several.
How many feet in diameter do you suspect that
I
they
don't.
were?
I can't measure that. I have no idea. I just know, like, if you see, like, again, if you see a jet, and you were to take that jet, but like, double it, like stack it on top of each other, and then create like
Okay.
a
Like you're
circle, like
saying, like a
enclose
circle,
it. I could give all kinds of comparisons, but it's not going to make sense. It's not going to really compare to what it is. Yeah, if you were to compress one of those spinny tops, you compress it and make it more rounded. You know, the tops you spin them, the spins. You compress that, but make it all rounded. That's what it looked like. How do you explain that? I have no idea how to explain that.
You just
But either
did. And now I didn't know if you thought into it, but you should always think okay, what are situations? Because if something presents itself in the future, you might be able to identify it. That's happened to me before.
maybe.
So I
But
always try
yeah.
in those times. That's why I ask a lot of questions. Oh, did this happen? Did that happen? Just so we know, hey, 6 months down the road, there's a facility or some testing facility. It comes out and you remember seeing.
If I seen an official like, hey, this is it, I would know. Oh no, Jenny left. She just sent us the. Hold on one second. She hit me up. Hold on one second. What happened? I have to send her. Hold on one second. I gotta send her another link here. Sorry guys. Jenny is gonna rejoin us here. Give me one sec. Oh no, I didn't. So hold on guys. I'm so sorry. Let's try to get her back in. All right, we'll try to get Jenny back. I sent her another link. So anyway, yeah. So like, the point that I was trying to get at is, I'm sorry, chat. I didn't even see chat. Can you guys please contact? I hit Jenny up, but if you guys can please hit her up and tell her that I sent her another link. I'm not sure. I hope she can get back in. So, yeah. Um, Bottom line that I'm trying to, because we were originally, this is like, oh, do you think that, let me pull up that question again. He said, does the government know of any other aliens? Okay. So I think that if we were given these things, that's my point that I was trying to get at. I don't know if we were given those things. I don't know if we recreated them, or what. I don't know. Again, I don't know if they were just hunks of metal that were just clearly they looked like UFOs. Maybe it was a psi. I don't know. But if it's true, if it was a real photo, which I think it was, if it was UFOs, which it looked like they were, and they were given to us, why would you give it to the United States freaking military? What are you doing? Have you heard about what we've done?
Making a deal.
Yeah, what's the deal? Listen, imagine making okay, in my opinion, cosmically, if you give the US alien technology, it'd be like giving an African warlord like
But what
high
did the
technology.
TTSA do though? With
They're not giving African warlords technology.
Elizondo, no, they somehow, you tell me how this happened, went from disclosing aliens with that skunk works, whatever, to invisible material, and then they jumped over to an army contract like it was no big deal. And what I was seeing people write on Twitter, because I was really following it this time, was we knew we just had this, it's not our time again to pick back up. It's basically that all the TTSA toy soldiers, what I call them, they stopped their harassment for like briefly before they came back. But there's so many different dynamics. Twitter is a good place if you can sort. It used to be. Now I think there's just like too many.
It's pretty
whatever.
bad,
but
yeah.
it used to be a really good place like to track people down. Where I think Facebook has kind of become more like that. But yeah.
I mean, I think they've been the same since the beginning. I think that Facebook is not as toxic as Twitter. I think that's objectively true. But either way, I'm sorry.
Well, John Ramirez, he tangles back to Twitter, so.
I mean, and people are lighting him, ripping him. Again, it frustrates me that that people are.
My project.
What's up?
I don't like him.
Why?
Not say I don't like him or whatever, but when I had those, I even posted them. You can check my Google Docs. I got all three of the surveys: the government, the one from the Star Team MUFON, and the Roper poll that was Robert Bigelow. And I wanted to figure out because he's got an experiencer database. He's got like 20,000 different people. He's not sharing his information, right? So I didn't realize that he had this going on at first. So we developed the experiencer's database. And then that survey was going to go out. I had somebody who was techie enough that could make it so it wouldn't, like, it can get penetrated. I also had people like lined up to take them, but like I knew, and I wanted to like reverse engineer to find out what exactly about us are they looking for. But the only disqualifying question I could find was whether you made it to the next level is if you experience a craft within 500 feet for a period of time, that got you off into the next level of the survey.
Wait. This is what I mean, Colin. This is
so he didn't like I had that project, and he came at it hardcore.
Yeah. So this is what I mean. This is kind of what I mean. I'm not sure. I mean, I don't know, because I don't know anything about that. That's information that I'm not aware of. You'd have to show me this information so I could look at it and kind of make my own judgment on that. I don't know.
No, you can see the surveys I had, but we just got shut down. I can show you I'll snapshot. I shouldn't say where, because the conversation is fully there and I don't want anybody to delete it, but I'll show you then all of a sudden where it came out with why, like some of the same people had been infiltrated on his behalf, and then they didn't let me know until afterward. So I know that conversation's still there, so I'll screenshot that and show you.
Yeah, hit me up. But even so, a conversation is not going to convince me. I need like facts.
He did not want anybody else to have that information. That was clear.
Of course. I mean, maybe, but why?
That's what I want to know.
Yeah.
And then when I was at SOR, he was supposed to show up, or he did show up at the party. And I
talked
remember
to him.
Dave
Yeah,
saying how strange that was.
He thought it was strange that he took off, but you know, listen. You what?
Okay.
There's a quote, I can't think of what it's called, but like, it's like whenever you when you already start from a place of distrust, you're going to find reasons why you can't trust someone.
No, he literally destroyed my projects, like that I had invested money in.
How do you know that he did that?
Because they all came forward and told me, and then I went looking for him. And it had to do with that he had his database. There's already 20-something thousand people in it that, you know, whatever it did not see the light of day. That's all I know. I don't know if he was solely the one. I don't know if I was supposed to have all three of those, because he was also with the NSA, the Signet, and that's profiling people. So I wouldn't see how that would be real ethical on how he obtained his information.
I don't know. I feel like you're stating some things that are like, okay, and you're making a leap to to some kind of a tell me what I should Google, and I'll do it right now.
Okay, Google SETI. Like that he's a part of. Yeah, like Signet. I'm sorry. It's SIG. Sorry. Yeah, let me pull up the stuff. It's the NSA stuff where they profile people.
Signet.
It's
NSA.
He was with the NSA.
John Ramirez.
I'm putting that acronym in there.
So Jenny, I removed Jenny because I thought that she needed to rejoin, but then it won't let her rejoin because I removed her. So I think she thinks that we just kicked her out. Oh no, this is not. Oh no, I thought something was wrong with her, like she was having technical issues. So I thought, okay, she'll just have her rejoin. I
can't believe that they won't let her.
She won't. She hasn't responded. I think she thinks that I actually removed her out of a. Oh no. Oh no, Jenny, I'm so sorry. Jenny had a gun. Dun, dun, dun.
Uh-oh.
Run.
We're sorry, Jenny. We're really sorry.
Oh no.
Oh.
I'm so sorry, Jenny. Please don't hate me. So I don't know, man. I just, you know, I get the impression that, like, I don't know John Ramirez like that. There's obviously reason to be skeptical, you know, no matter what. But my thing is just like sometimes I feel like people are skeptical to the point of like making themselves like ignore what might be important facts about something. For example,
always test it out. You gotta test it out.
Well, Elizondo, you know, what bothers me is that, like, all the people that people don't like in the UFO community, they don't like them for the dumbest and most hypocritical reasons ever.
That's not why.
You gotta prove me wrong. Elizondo, you know what I've heard about him? Well, he works for the intelligence community. So does Doty. Oh, well, he's writing a book. So has literally everyone. Oh,
I know.
You know,
at least Doty will
oh
talk.
My gosh,
Lou Elizondo won't talk. That's why I got in trouble with the other station we were at, because I said I wanted to talk to Lou. And you know who, the wizard, said, no, you cannot talk to him right now. He's not talking to anyone. And I heard that like across the line. And I was like, well, we share data, you know, database. Why can't I give him a call? Why can't I talk to Lou?
So you know what this sounds like? Listen.
No, that's just a start.
My youngest daughter
I was told the Canadian. Go ahead.
Hold on. My youngest daughter, right? She said, "I want cookie." I said,
"Oh gosh,
no,
there's
baby.
more to that."
You can't have cookie. She said, "I want cookie."
No, I went too far in the power struggle.
You can't have
me and the other.
Yeah.
No.
So we did that for a while.
Okay, so what it is that he's not accessible. I think he should be more accessible to people.
Daddy, I want cookie. Daddy, I want cookie. Daddy, I want cookie.
So you
That's what you're
listen
doing.
here, Luzando. I want to talk to you, okay?
That's what you're doing, Coley.
And
Daddy, I
my
want cookie.
last
Give me a cookie.
Floyd,
Give me a
not,
cookie.
yeah. Well, why won't he? You know what? Then I'm gonna track him. I'm gonna track you
Why?
down, Lou.
Why,
'cause you're
Daddy?
gonna
Why?
Because I
Why
think
no cookie?
before I determine my sound judgment on him
Yeah.
and who I think he is, I think that everybody deserves a conversation. So I just have
Nobody
some
deserves
questions.
anything from Elizon. He doesn't owe anybody.
No, no,
anything.
I deserve to have I deserve to give him a conversation if he chooses
Oh,
to do
man.
so.
Do you know what
If
this?
he chooses to do so,
You know what you sound
just
like?
to
Now-
clear up
now
a
you know
few
what
things
You know,
here.
now you know what you sound like.
I'm older than two.
You
boys, so.
sound like an entitled little brat.
No, I think everybody deserves a conversation.
Well,
like if
I
if,
don't
if
deserve.
somebody
deserve.
no, if I'm gonna talk say it, I'm gonna have such strong opinions. I think that at least I could do is give somebody the opportunity to have a conversation about it, to see it, because like I said, I've changed a lot about Bob Lazar, like just through the conversations we've had with other people. So I'm not saying I shut him down. That's
Chat.
my personal gut says
Chat.
no way.
You turn
But
on me, chat.
Definitely.
You turn on me, chat. How dare you? First of all,
Oh.
all right, hold up. Nobody owes anyone anything. First of all. Secondly, the idea that if he doesn't talk to me, I don't trust him. That is literally the definition
No.
of entitlement. It's
That's
like
not,
he,
that's
like
not what
he.
I'm saying.
Well, if you feel like you deserve something from someone,
No. I'm saying that he deserves me the opportunity to ask him questions.
Oh man!
If I'm
Oh,
gonna
man.
and
Coley.
that's up to him if he wants to
no.
take that opportunity and have that conversation.
You know, I had
But
an
if he just wants to
ex-girlfriend.
shut down and not talk to anyone, he's not talking to anybody. And then when he gives answers that are so elusive, like, oh,
You know,
yeah.
I
You
had-
hear more of like Mr. Bean from him than you do, actual. And then he'll make statements, but there's no. He's the one that provides the least evidence. He has no evidence.
So wait a
whatsoever.
minute. So
None. They have
you
none.
you guys did anybody catch that? Or am I just going crazy? I'm going crazy right now. Hold on one second. I'm going crazy. I
Bringing you
can't.
with me.
So why can't I get her to? I think that she's having an issue getting back on.
Oh, she is. Why can't she come? She can't come under the
I don't
same
know.
link.
I don't know. Maybe we have to create a new Zoom link real quick, like a whole new meeting. I'm gonna end this, and I'm gonna intermission. I'm gonna end this just a Zoom. We'll still be talking, and then I'll still be talking, and then I'm gonna bring you back on. I'm gonna send you the Zoom link. 2 minutes, okay? 2 minutes.
Are we gonna?
We're gonna
Be
we're gonna
live?
yeah, we're gonna be live. But
Somewhere?
the Zoom link is gonna end, but I'm gonna send it. I'm gonna create a new link like right away, just right now,
Okay.
and then we'll just keep going. All right, this way she can get back in. Something's wrong. All right, let's do this, guys. I'm still here. You guys better be paying attention to this conversation, all right? Don't you dare, okay? Don't you dare. Hold on one second. I gotta create a new meeting. New meeting. Join with computer audio. Add attendees. Invite. All this stuff. I'm back, but we gotta get Coley and we gotta get Jenny back. Hold on one second. New link. Who dis? New link. Who dis? Okay. They'll be here in just a second, everyone. But while Coley's gone, she gaslit me, y'all. Come on, guys. Come on. Help me out, chat. What's going on? What's going on? Wait a minute. What is going on right now? You guys turned on me? We all deserve to be listened to. We can have different perspectives, but we need to listen and be listened to. Then decide what you want. So, that I agree with, Polly. Polly said that, by the way. I do agree with the idea that people should be listened to. I do not agree with the idea that people deserve to be heard by anyone, or that they deserve a conversation with anyone, because that is kind of not really, I'm not really digging that idea. That's kind of the idea of like, well, if you don't give me what I want, then I'm not going to trust you. I'm not going to like you. It's like somebody saying, listen, the cookie thing. if you want me to like you, you better give me a cookie. And if you don't give me a cookie, well, you're just a bad person. That's literally that's literally, like, definitionally, this is what you guys are doing right here. My chat's going against me here. This is where I differ from like 90% of the UFO community. Elizondo does not deserve, I'm sorry, Elizondo does not owe anyone anything, especially a conversation. Elizondo does not at all, um, you know, owe anyone a conversation. He doesn't owe anyone anything. What he has done is essentially, you know, what's up? Well, look at that beard, man. My
Yeah.
goodness, this is a beard
It's
of
actually
a
smaller
Greek.
than it's smaller than it used to be.
That is the beard of a Greek god. My goodness. What's up? What's up, man?
Not much. She wanted me to talk about the Stanford abduction here in Kentucky.
Please do, man. Please do. Hit us up.
Okay, so we wrote a book called Aliens Over Kentucky that is about, obviously the extraterrestrial and UFO encounters here in Kentucky. And there's one called the Stanford abduction. And we wrote this book a long time ago. My memory's pretty bad, so I don't remember all the details. I just remember some of the most important points. I don't even remember the women's names. But 3 women went to a diner one night on one of the women's birthdays. This was back, I want to say maybe in the 70s. And when they were coming home, they were supposedly abducted. They had like there was like a light or the UFO or whatever, something was flying right over top of them and they couldn't shake it. So they lost time, right? And then they woke back up in the car still in a field at the edge of someone's field, like they had backed up in a driveway or down a path right outside some farmer's, property. And they ended up getting real sick. I think they had burns, radiation burns, and other kinds of marks on them. And they ended up losing weight. And I think some of them had psychological issues afterwards, not like hallucinations or anything like that, just fear, trauma type related things. And they were seen by doctors, and the doctors couldn't really explain what was wrong with them, why they were losing weight and being sick. And they were reverse hypnotized by a psychiatrist or a psychologist or whatever, and they gave like accounts of what happened, and like they linked up, like the 3 women, when they were done this separately, all their stories linked up to one another. And the guy who owned the property where their car was found or where they woke up, he said that he'd seen a light that night, a bright light shining down at the edge of his property where they would have been, and he didn't know what it was. So, and these women were like teachers. They were like professionals. They weren't like, people who had a history of any sort of illicit or strange behavior or anything, or any kind of psychological issues prior to this. And, and none of them sought any sort of attention for it. They didn't write books, they didn't try to make money off of it. It stayed pretty low key. They seemed like they didn't act. A lot of people said they seemed like they didn't want to talk about it. The only reason it ever got brought up is because of the health issues and the fear they had from it. And I theorize that if it's not just simply because of that, the reason you don't hear a lot about it is because it's almost impossible to really and truly debunk their story because there's so much evidence. And I think most of the time when you hear about the UFO stories, like Travis Walton's, for instance, you hear about them because, people can punch holes in them, right? Because Travis wrote that really detailed book, and a lot of people have called him out for detail. Even though I think what happened to him was real, I think he was just probably forced by a publisher to fill in a lot of details. But yeah, the Stanford abduction, I think, is pretty hard to argue with.
This happened in what location in Kentucky again? Sorry.
It was around Stanford, Kentucky.
Stanford.
It was kind of like, it was like, I think that's in central Kentucky.
So were you a part of this? I joined, and I was sorry about the whole link on the Zoom or whatever. So were you a part of this project, or is this something? Because Stanford is known for this. Like, they did the prisoners. I'm not sure if you read that one or what they've done there, but they do extensive I know a buddy of mine, Eric Mitchell, has been Stanford's prod and probed him quite a bit throughout this. So yeah, that's fascinating.
Have you
Yeah,
talked?
there
You
was.
talked to?
I'm sorry, I couldn't
Have
hear.
you talked to anybody like that's directly involved with the incident?
We haven't. We haven't been able to find anybody. I think maybe only one of the women are still alive, or she may have recently passed.
It'd be great even if you could find like descendants. I'm not sure the
Yeah,
history or
that'd be
whatever
cool.
to see if they told the story. Because that's fascinating all on its own.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to another ufologist kind of guy who follows a lot of this, and he knows a lot about it too. And me and him were talking about it, and he pretty much thinks the same thing I do, that they don't really hear about it much because they can't make these women look crazy, so they kind of don't talk about it. And it's like, and I
So
feel like they cover, I think they cover up a lot of stories that they can't make look bad. They can't make
Oh,
people look nuts or whatever.
absolutely.
why do you think
Or
they?
give that, enough deception or enough like this way, that way, that duality.
Why do you think that people want to cover it up? Like, what's the point of hiding it? Who cares?
Control.
Well, I mean, I guess the government has their own reasons for hiding it. Of course, this could all be tied in. It may not even be aliens. This may be. You still there?
I'm still here. Yeah, Coley
Okay.
just
It-
her
No,
video
yeah, I
something
just
else.
because I mean, it may not even necessarily be aliens. A lot of it's just some weird government stuff going on that they're doing. But I think, and also a fear. A lot of people would be afraid of it. Maybe not as much nowadays, but especially past decades and years, people would have been a lot more afraid to admit something like that. I think with
True,
all the
true,
videos that exist now,
true.
because there's constant surveillance of everything, people are starting to come to terms with the fact that there could possibly be something other than the mundane out there.
By the way, I apologize. We did not introduce you. It's a bit abrupt, but this is Jenny's husband. His name is not Jenny.
Hello.
Yeah. So Scott or Bryson said, "Jenny, you've changed."
Yeah. Yes.
So his name is Jacob. Jacob Floyd.
Nice
Jacob
to meet you,
is
Jacob.
yeah. Jacob is not just Jenny's husband. He also wrote the book with her. They co-wrote the book together.
Okay, yeah,
So that's
very
why.
awesome.
So
Yeah, she wanted me to take over, I guess.
Oh no, that's cool. Yeah, you both could have come on
That's okay.
together. That wouldn't even been a problem. But yeah, I would love to hear more. So you guys wrote this book. How far are you from the area? And you may have said this before, but it took me a few minutes to get back on the Zoom call, so I missed the first portion of that.
How far are we from Stanford?
Yeah, and like how we're, because what ties do you have? Because you always like with paranormal, it's like they know you're coming 3 days for, you're going. It's like they're on to you. But what would you say your connection is with like the whole storyline or the property or?
Well, to this, nothing. I mean, we don't have any personal connection to it. We just did a lot of research on it because we're interested in things of that nature. We've both had kind of weird encounters that we're not sure about before, but just kind of the journey of dealing with the paranormal kind of led to us dealing with the extraterrestrial and cryptids and stuff as well. So kind of just a point of interest. Yeah, we don't have any personal
So
connection.
it opens so many
We're not-
doors. Yeah. Things like that,
Yeah.
it's like that interest sparks and you don't realize, but it does like then, open doors you wouldn't expect to.
yeah,
So
the book is
that's
the
Yeah.
book. Thank you, Timothy Man and Bryson. Sorry, the book is called Aliens Over Kentucky, right? Excuse me.
Yes.
Yeah, the link
So
is in
have you
the.
had any experience with ET?
Well, we've seen some weird things in the sky at times before, and she's had some weird experiences at her house that when she was younger, that she doesn't know if it paranormal or if it was anything like that.
There's a few I question also. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah, and
So,
I've had some weird things happen, but I can't really piece it all together. I don't know how to explain everything.
You never
so.
get the full version. So have you had missing time? Have you had, like, have you had memories of meeting like ET or being aboard something that wasn't, one of your own? I mean, any of that kind of
Not
resonate with you?
not really. No. Like I said, there's been some instances that were weird that I've experienced with other people.
Hmm.
Now, Jenny and I have seen some strange craft in the sky at times, and we actually mentioned some of it in the book, and in conjunction with other stories.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
I've had some weird experiences of my own, differently placed over time, and sometimes I wonder if they weren't somehow connected. But yeah, I don't know what to think
What do
about it.
you
I don't really.
define as weird? Like what weird experience would you say?
Um, they're not something I usually talk about too much in depth because, I don't know what I think about it, so I don't want to presume anything. But um,
Can you give us a description of it, kind of? You
well,
know,
the one thing I will mention, is there was a time when I and some of my friends, when I was about 14, we were walking through our neighborhood, right, and there was this ditch, long ditch to this wooded area, but on the somewhere in the wooded area there was a light, and we were always kind of going back in those areas and looking around. Someone had built a platform on between four trees that were perfectly aligned, so sometimes we went back there. But one night we were looking down the ditch because there was like cats fighting down there or something, and and we heard something stomping real heavily through the wooded area, and we were like, "What the heck is that?" Because it sounded like a horse galloping through there or something, but not with all the, it was just like with maybe two footsteps, not four hitting you, but it was that heavy sounding. And when it came into the light, there was like a silhouette of some kind of tall creature that was hunched over, looked shaggy, and it looked over at us, and it had like some. I don't think its eyes were glowing. I think the light just hit its eyes and kind of lit it up. But that freaked me out, and I took off running. And there was another time we were in the woods in that area during the day. That was at nighttime during the day, and one of my friends, I was talking to him, and I just saw his face go completely white, and he was looking at something. His mouth dropped open, and I was like, "What the heck is he looking at?" So I looked over, and there was a creature that was similar looking to what I just described, as far as it's hunched and shaggy looking, but it was completely black, and it the way it was sitting up against a tree, and at first I thought it was like it looked like just a bunch of piles of trash bags, and had kind of a triangular shape, but then it kind of stood up and started coming out, but it was too far away to get perfect details. But we started running because it scared the crap out of all of us, because we were there in the woods and we didn't know what the heck it was. And then when we looked over, it was running kind of parallel to us, but I would say like several yards away, and it was bipedal and it was just running along with us. And by the time we left the woods, we didn't see it again. So uh, sometimes I wonder, because I think about that whole Bigfoot story, and I don't know if that was something similar to that or what, but it wasn't a heavily wooded area. Like it was a woods. It wasn't large. Like it was. So I don't know if they would usually hang out in something that close to a populated suburban neighborhood or what.
So I've had so when I was younger, I was a kid. I hate this story. Kind of similar to what you said. It's hard to like make sense of what it was. So I feel how you feel, but there is something that happened, not just once, but something that kind of confirmed my experience. When I was very young, I remember at my grandmother's house, there I used to be afraid to go to the bathroom at nighttime. You know, creatures right around the corner, kind of thing. It's dark, and
Yeah.
you're always scared about what's in the darkness. Is there a creature there? Well, there was this hallway that you had to go around a corner to get to that led to the bathroom. On one end of the hallway, at the very end, was the bathroom. At the other end of the hallway was my grandmother's room. And but I was always too terrified to go to the bathroom without like booking it or hoping that someone would come out of the door and open the like shine a light or something like that. And one night I remember I looked like the dining there was the living room, which there were two. I was on one side of the house, the big living room, and when you first walk into the house is another living room, and in between is a kitchen and a dining room, and you can see all the way through those. So I looked down towards the kitchen, and there was another opening to the hallway. So there's two openings to that hallway. One right around the corner from the first living room. The second opening is right by where the kitchen is. And at the opening to the kitchen, there was this freaking creature that was hunched, like it was really tall, and it hunched down and peered its head like to the side like this, and wrapped its fingers around the edge of the wall, and it looked past and it just smiled like a giant big smile, and it had really sharp teeth and like these kind of beady eyes, and it had horns. This thing had horns on its head, and I used to call it. I seen this thing, and if I try to like, it's on the other side of the house, like it's by the kitchen, not by where I am. So I thought maybe I could beat it to the bathroom, and every time I tried to book it, instantaneously this thing was fast. It would like run, not like run. You could hear the foot, but quickly run, and it would be instantly right around the other corner, and it would peer its head, wrap its long long fingernails, long fingers right around that corner, and just smile at me.
I wonder if
Now-
it's the same type. Was its horns like? Was it like lower
They were tight
Like-
to its head.
or the
And
top
they were-
is top? Okay. It
Yeah.
says, okay.
So
How
I don't
many
think
times did it happen?
I don't remember how many. I just remember seeing it more than once. But let me tell you
Wow.
something. When I got old, and its legs, by the way, were bent backwards. Like not so like I don't know how to explain it, but
What?
kind of like a kangaroo, like legs like a or whatever or something like that. Kind of like bent backwards, like the Baphomet character, like the Baphomet
That's
creature.
just. Well, that's what you're making me think of, Baphomet.
Yeah.
Yeah, me
So-
too. I'm like, oh,
so, Well, here's
that's
the
an
thing.
exorcist waiting to happen.
So here's the thing. The years and years, I'm 20 some years old. All right, I'm 36 now. It's 20 some, 28, maybe 27. My oldest daughter, I told my kids about this experience that I had, because they tell them about spooky stories you once had.
Yeah.
And my daughter one day runs into she says, "Daddy, Daddy," and I'm like, "What?" I'm thinking that something happened. She said, "I found your demon." I was terrified. My first thought was, oh no, like I brought this thing into my child's life. That's what I thought. It was real. Not only was it real, but I brought it into my daughter's life. And then my second thought was, maybe she's just like, she's saying it. And she showed me a YouTube video that somebody made replicating the exact I'm not talking about something similar, something that was kind of it was exactly what I saw when I was a kid. The exact same creature. And this person said it was really fast. And
The backward legs throw
backward
me.
legs, tall, fast, long skinny fingernails, the horns, the big grin, everything. The exact same freaking creature this person saw. So, I mean, I don't know how to make sense of like, well, how do you make sense of something like that? I don't even know. I don't even know how to make sense of that. So I understand how you feel when you're like, well, I had experiences, and I've had other experiences where I'm like, how do I even have that conversation? Because maybe they were.
Don't you have to know what you're dealing with first?
Who knows what you're dealing with? Like, I don't know what I was dealing with. Was I hallucinating?
Well, what did the person say that replicated it that you saw, like a replication? You're like, oh no,
it was a YouTube video. They were just like, oh, they were talking about
what did
creepy
they think
stories.
it was?
They said they called it a creature. They didn't call it a demon. They called it a creature, and they said that it like terrorizes people, but usually kids, and it happens to many children. This same creature has been talked about to many children. I was too afraid to investigate any further because at this point I'm like, it was real, and I was afraid it would come back or maybe it would go after my kids.
Well,
So I
Jessica
just-
Jones about it. Yeah. Very interesting.
I don't know what the heck that thing was. But I've had other experiences, Jacob, that
Was
are...
it like in the here and now, or it wasn't like a spirit where it's like you don't know? If it's,
Who knows, man? I was a kid. I didn't have like when I had my abduction experiences, or whatever they were. When I think back to them, they were real. Like we're having a conversation right now, but they were terrifying. They really stopped me from doing or thinking about anything else but what was happening to me in the moment. So that was real. When I was a kid, they felt just as real. Like it was a real experience. I saw something.
Because it is, yeah. It's just like your memory, any other memory in your bank. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, but I was just saying, Jacob, like I can relate to like that feeling of like not wanting to. How do you Krampus? Hold on one second. I can relate to the feeling of like how do you talk about something that you can't make sense of. You can't make sense of it. Yes.
Yeah.
That's it. Krampus.
That's
That's
what
the
that's
thing.
what you're. That's what I started to think of when you said the kids were terrified by it. I thought it was
Dude.
thought of
Krampus?
You're kidding me. No way.
What is going
Is it a real mythical creature or is it?
Yeah, Krampus is a real. It's German folklore.
Oh my gosh. No freaking way, man. No
It's usually
freaking
associated
way.
with Yuletide and Christmas and all that, but that doesn't mean anything. I mean, it could be all over the place if it was ever once real.
Oh, it's like the real Santa Claus?
I'm not looking at. I can't look at any more pictures of it. I'm done. I'm
Evil
over it.
Santa Claus.
I'm over it.
Can you
I'm
pull
over
it up? Oh.
I'm
Krampus? How are you
Hold
spelling
on.
it?
K-R-A.
Oh, K-R-A.
That's the
Okay.
creature that I saw, guys. That was it. That was the creature. I never even heard of that thing until just now. That's crazy.
I hope
That's
they have some
crazy.
better pictures.
Oh my gosh.
Krampus.
Hold on.
Where does it come from?
It says it's in a Central
Panic.
Europe, Central European popular legend, a half goat, half demon monster that punishes
Oh.
misbehaving children. You're effing kidding me.
Oh, Saint Nicholas helpers. Yeah. Oh boy, the Krampus is one of the variations of the Saint Nicholas.
I'm so
helper.
mad I even talked about that story because now I feel like it's just BS. I don't even. Yeah. Son of a gun. I regret talking about it. I wish I would have never
It would
mentioned
often target children who behave badly, hitting them with tree branches known as switches. Oh, I remember my mom talking about this. Even kidnapping them in baskets.
Hold on one second. I'm gonna
That's
give
it's probably a folklore they told people, but who's to say that it's not based off of something that's real? But good,
Hold on
good
one second.
representing Santa Claus there.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Hold on one second.
By
Can
the
I-
MPAA sequence of horror, violence, terror, language, and they're saying is this suitable for children.
Hold on one second. guys.
Who makes this?
I don't
Really?
know. I'm gonna have to pull this up for you guys. Hold on. Show the images. This is so creepy, man.
Maybe some
I'm
of
genuinely mad that I looked this up. I wish I wouldn't have, because now I feel like my story is bullcrap.
Why?
It's just
Why?
like it's a freaking creature. It's a creature from mythology. Like, why would I see that?
You
thing?
don't know that they didn't create all of this off of that creature.
I don't know. Can you guys see the screen? I don't know if you can. Hold on.
Uh-huh.
What do you see? Oh crap.
I
What's he-
see them trying to subliminally disseminate him into Santa Claus and Christmas and joyful whatever. But I
does
see
the
that
chat
being
see?
that looks very. I don't think that it's out hugging kids. I think it's out terrorizing kids. And maybe
I'm so
too
mad I looked this
Santa
thing up.
Claus and the
Yeah.
day. You know, did you believe in Santa at the time?
No,
you
I
saw
didn't believe
him?
in that crap. He was tall though. He smiled at. He had this freaking. That's the creature. I mean, there's a bunch of different versions of it, but see that creepy grin with the sharp teeth. Why did I see
Yeah.
that when I was a kid? Why did I see that? That's so weird.
What is it? Does it mean anything significant to you right now?
Just that it was real, and that's what I saw.
No. I mean, like, does the character itself, like, is there anything that seeing that then that you might look back at now and be like, oh, maybe this is what it meant, or maybe that was like.
I don't know. I wish I understood
You have to
why I
think
saw that
about
thing.
it.
Yeah.
I just knew that it was related to Christmas. And I was like, oh, here we go again.
You see, this is why I believe that like mythology has, I genuinely, and this is like a confirmation of that. I read about mythology. I really enjoy
You
reading
gotta think
about.
of steganography also, though.
I haven't gotten into that, but I do think that there are ties to reality. Like there are these creatures that are talked about throughout history that are real, and they make sense of them through story, and they make sense of them through mythos. Oh my gosh, we are 8 minutes over the break, guys. I got to go to the last break. I'm so sorry. That just took me off. Caught me off guard. So hang
Are you
tight,
hanging
Jacob.
with us?
You hanging with us, or
Jacob?
you're gonna head out for the night? We usually do 2 hours, so we're over that time. If you wanna head out, it's up to you, man.
Okay, I'll probably head out.
All right. Well, listen, man. I really appreciate you jumping in.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. We thought that she had some technical issues, so we removed her and then tried to add her back, try to have her just jump back on. But because we removed her, it wouldn't let her join back again. So I had to create a new Zoom link to add her to the new Zoom.
Yeah, that's why
I'm
we
so
all went
sorry.
off and then
Yeah,
hopped back on.
and then hop back on
yeah.
to get her back on. So I appreciate that you were able to do this Tell her I'm so
But
sorry
you are
about that.
welcome to stay
Um,
into the third hour if you want.
It's 3
Yeah,
hours.
Welcome
Yeah,
to-
they gotta.
Just
I'll
like give him
prob-
the option. Just give him the option.
Yeah, I'll probably hop off for the rest of the night.
All
Well,
right.
well, again,
thank
Jacob, thank you so much for being with us,
Yes.
man. Thank you so much. All right, guys, we're gonna
And
go on our
again, we'll
last
put
break.
all the details of your book and stuff.
Yeah, 100%, man. Thank you, Jacob. Have a great night, man.
You too.
All right, everybody, we're gonna go on our last break. It's very short anyway, but we're gonna talk about not what we just talked about because I'm already traumatized by the experience. Hang tight.
Zoom is not letting me out. There we go.
As the night falls and the stars align, Coley Marquis Show takes us on a ride through the cosmos, the unknown, where mysteries of the universe are shown. Questions arise, curiosity grows. Are we alone? Only time knows. UFOs, aliens, paranormal sights. As we share the knowledge under the lights, did the government recover a crashed UFO? Or alien bodies hidden, where do they go? Sean Mac's alien agenda, is it right? Will the truth finally come to light? Secrets of the universe unfold in a facility where the truth's been told. Conspiracies and cover-ups entwine. As we search for answers, will we find? In the shadows, the truth awaits. UFOs, aliens, paranormal sights. As we share the knowledge under the lights, did the government recover a crashed UFO? Or alien bodies hidden, where do they go? Sean Mac's alien agenda, is it right? Will the truth finally come to light? Secrets of the universe unfold in a facility where the truth's been told. Conspiracies and cover-ups entwine. As we search for answers, will we find? In the shadows, the truth awaits. In the shadows, the truth awaits. UFOs, aliens, paranormal sights. As we share the knowledge under the lights, did the government recover a crashed UFO? Or alien bodies hidden, where do they go? Sean Mac's alien agenda, is it right?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We are back. Give me just a second to get all this stuff launched up. We're back. We're back. We're back. Coley, I'm bringing you in. Hang tight, Coley. Coley, you with me? Coley.
I'm here.
Yeah. All right. All right. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Coley and Marquis Show. Thank you for being with us. Chat, I want to say thank you for being so lovely. You guys are always engaging in a very positive and in an uplifting way. You make the conversation, more interesting and more intriguing because you ask good questions. You obviously give great feedback, and you also troll me. Specifically me, by the way. Coley, they love you. They love trolling me, chat, all this time. So thank you for all of that. We love you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So
our team.
Our team, the A team.
Great.
Yeah. So what a conversation. So I didn't know about that incident, the Kentucky incident. That's a new one for me. You know what's funny? There are MUFON has, regardless of your belief about MUFON, you can't deny the fact that they've got the data. Like there are thousands of sightings and experiences and stuff like that all throughout MUFON's archives. You can't deny it. You hate the organization. Definitely critique some of those people.
It's not that it's a backdoor. That's the problem. The MUFON investigators are great. I love MUFON Fred and Dave and Tim Whitmore. Tom Whitmore. Like the whole 9 yards. I love them. But like Fred will even tell you, he's like, we're just nothing is identified, but they're now a part of the DoD, and McDonald, who is running MUFON, and their CNS unit was shut down going back a few months ago for 3 months, solid months. They said the FBI was involved because they thought there was some hacking. And then the Secret Service shows up, right? And Fred's like, we don't understand. I shouldn't say Fred, but he did. They didn't understand it. And I confirmed it with more MUFON people. And then again, their system went down. But from the general, from what I gathered from speaking with all of them, and there's multiple, is that they were trying to scrub something off of there. And then McDonald, who is
that?
Head of MUFON, he's the director. He's the new Jan Harsman. He has contracts directly, and Doty confirmed it.
Coley. Yo,
But Doty didn't confirm it, okay?
We are going to be at this forever.
Doty confirmed. And he said that there is an active, and I know that everybody thinks they go on at one time, but no, I think that I'm starting to figure out what it is, but there's an active campaign with the government right now for disinformation on UFOs, especially.
The crux of me and Coley's relationship is our total polar opposite belief about all the figures and perspectives of the UFO phenomena and community, or vice versa. Listen, how can you do this to me? Okay, so I don't even know. Listen, I'm always leery about believing anything anybody says. I always look at character. I look at conversation. I look at the flow of conversation.
Post about MUFON system being down tomorrow, right? You want evidence of that?
Is it down?
It was down for 3 solid months. They couldn't make any reports from February 17th all the way through whatever.
I mean, I don't know what the reason for that is, though. So, I don't have.
They said that's what they said. The FBI came in because there was allegedly a hacker on the East Coast, but then the Secret Service showed up, and that's what made them very.
So okay, so what does that tell you? What does that tell you? In your mind,
they thought they were wiping something.
Okay, in your mind, who is at fault for this?
Well, since it's connected to the DoD now, the AARO, and
Polly, we know. Please don't put it. Please do not put that in the chat. I'll talk about it after the show.
Okay.
Talk about.
They're a part. It's a backdoor. It's a backdoor to the government. It's just like they've always had it. They had it with NIDS. MUFON did. That's why we found an article. I'll pull the article. And it was like one, but then I took Tom Whitmore, who's on the board, but he's on the big board, not just so he was like through all that. And he even went on And he admitted that, yeah, information was being taken and leaked out the back door to places like NIDS, to the AATIP, the
Sure. But what's the problem here? So here's what I mean.
I
Okay,
didn't
so
want my information going to them.
let's
I
say
was
that.
upset when I found out.
Well, hold on. I talk to people about this all the time. Okay, if you have a computer, all right, and especially if you have a phone, all of your information is being shared with literally everyone. It's
Data dump,
stop.
right?
Like,
But
yeah, don't ever.
MUFON is doing MUFON because then they started their star team and then they wouldn't stop calling me. They call, I mean, incessantly call. And I told Fred, I was like, can you give me why? What's their big interest? I think it was a way to pre-screen.
What are you?
And I don't MUFON. They don't get the answers. I've sat on a bazillion MUFON calls where they go in, they present their evidence, and that's it. Like there's no like identified. There's nothing that's been identified.
What do you mean?
MUFON.
You mean they go and investigate these incidents and then they don't come to a conclusion?
No. No, they don't have. They're just volunteers.
Yeah, but what does that suggest to you though?
That suggests I think they're being used by their government because in that information. So the STAR team, one of those surveys that I have, for the experiencers, I even shared the link.
Yeah.
That the government had, the Rover Pool and the STAR team. So they are on there and they were reversed. I think that the government was looking and they were screening for them. Because if you had an encounter with ET, then you got referred over to the STAR team.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying.
All right. I don't know. There's a lot that you're talking about that I've never heard of. So I don't like you have more information about this than I do. But let me just here's how I see these. What's up, Christine? Here's how I see about these incidents, okay? And good vibes only too. If I hear that MUFON has been essentially like surveyed by the Pentagon and the Pentagon, or sorry, the FBI and the DoD or whatever, and they're stealing information from the MUFON and they're deleting things off their servers and they're causing all this chaos and shutting down their. To me, that sounds like MUFON's doing something that they don't want, like the military. Kira, no freaking way. Kira, it is
Kira.
So good. What's up,
Love
Kira?
you, girl. I know.
My heart, it's exploding with love. It sounds like to me
Kira.
that they're being messed with. Like, imagine if somebody came to you, Coley, and busted in your house and like took your wall of crazy, right? Because I got one too. It's in my head.
Oh, man.
So they'll never take mine.
Those are
They'll
fighting
never
words.
get my wall. It's in my head. So they say they.
Seen how to organize that sucker was. I color coded it, but
Well,
that way I knew.
But let's say they came into your house, they busted in, they took your wall of crazy, and then they confiscated it. But they only took like certain things out of there and then put the rest back. And then people were like, Coley's part of the government now. Coley's actually working for them. She's a government stooge. How like that's kind of what you're doing right now. Like you're
You
doing
don't think
that
anyone
to
would
MUFON.
believe?
I
No,
mean,
MUFON
I
did.
think that
You MUFON did, and they admitted to it. And I'll even have Tom. I'm gonna text Tom too, and I'm gonna let him know.
Yo,
'cause
guys,
he even got on an SOR thing afterwards because I went to him. I said, "Is our information really?" And then I even asked Dave and I asked Fred. And they said, so my stuff, I said, I'll continue to share with you, but it goes in an unmarked file. And that's where they kept it. Was in I said, I don't want this being, because they came out. There was articles, and I know going back since they're on Twitter, I've got them. And we found one.
Yeah.
We found
so look,
more than one.
Look. So let's just hope that never happens to you. I'm gonna use you as a character in my first book. All right. The government's gonna come in. They're gonna try to throw the book at you. And you're going to look at that book and you're going to say, I eat books like this for breakfast. they're not going to be able to move.
I got myself in more trouble for those things. But in the long run,
I see it. Coley, you can't mess with her. You can't scare her.
No, I see it. But I go in and so I won't. Just a little disclosure. Some of the fits that I've thrown. So I went into traffic court and I was there and they had something else that they wanted to give me a paperwork, a subpoena. I said, you cannot come into a court of law once it starts. So the officer slowly comes in and he's yelling like my name. I don't know. And I wouldn't take it. And the guy was standing there. He's like, "You have to take that." I said, "No, I don't." And I think it was for jury duty because I never even respond to those things. And so I'm like, you cannot. And it's creating this huge scene. And the attorney's like, "I think you're served." And I said, "I think not." Well, in the grand scheme of things, even though everybody was staring and I kicked
Coley
the paper
fighting
across the
law.
room.
Yo.
Yeah, and I told the sheriff exactly what he was not supposed to ask me. If he was used language you probably shouldn't use. And then I went in front of a different judge, and guess who was right?
Okay, well, I will be sure that if I have legal issues, I'll come to you. I'll be like, "Hey, Coley, you know what I'm
No, but
saying? Stand
normal
up to
people
them."
would have just taken that, not me. I'm like, no.
Kira, hugs. I love you, Kira. Thank you so much. I miss you too, Kira.
Aw.
Yeah, it's so good to see you guys.
So
again.
nice
Oh my
to
gosh.
yeah, she
That's
came
so
over.
cool, man. My heart is literally, it feels, I'm very, when my beginnings, again, I keep talking about this, but my beginnings, the whole SR experience, there's a lot of love. I mean, I love you guys. I miss you guys. I would, and it's good to see
There's
you, Kira.
amazing people on those teams like
Yeah.
Kira and
Yeah.
Jessica. I'm just like, oh,
Yeah.
I miss. There's a
Yeah.
lot of good people too on the team.
Yeah, man. So it's my heart.
You're welcome over here anytime.
100%, anytime. Because you bring nothing but love anyway. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I get the impression like we're gonna figure this out one day, Coley. We're gonna figure, or we're just gonna constantly be going back and forth forever, which would
No,
also
I think,
be
but
cool.
I always see that even when I have these conversations with you, it makes me like, you're never the same after you have the dynamic. So I usually process it and I change it a little bit because that's why we're here.
Yeah.
And you might think, but if I'm on like that side, sometimes I miss things. So that's what you're there for.
So
to point out
I
those
don't have
things
as
that I
much.
miss.
I feel like you have a lot more like exposure and connections, but also like you get a lot more data in a lot of things I've never even heard of before. So your perspective is shaped by a lot more than what mine is. I always look at the logic behind your perspective because sometimes I think it's not that you're missing information. I think that the way that you see the information, the connections that you draw. Sometimes I think that there may be an influence of either a perspective or belief that you have that's influencing how you're seeing the data. Because the data is there. You're not wrong about any of the stuff you talk about in terms of the data. Like what it is true. What what I think is a little different is how you interpret those connections. I think
But I do connect the dots. What you said is exactly what I do. And that's why it's harder for me where I need to stop and go instead of going, oh, I connect this dot with B to C to D, E, F, G. And I'm probably only partly explained each stop of the way on how I got somewhere. Because it was, I mean, it took it was a long process. So I try and keep out like,
We're still going through that process though. We're always learning,
I know.
So what? So again, in conclusion to the MUFON situation, you think MUFON's in cahoots with the U.S. military or government or DOD
Oh yeah,
or
they've
whatever?
never not been. Yeah.
What would be wrong with that? What if they are?
Well, where do I start with that one? About that time, the Star Team, you get the black
What
helicopters.
is the Star Team? What is that? You said that.
They're the ones that the experiencers date. That's one of the surveys that I got. One of the 3 surveys that I got that John Ramirez shut down was from the Star Team, MUFON Star Team. I got theirs. I got the Roper Pool, and I got the one that, like the NIDS, the TTSA type ones. So I put them all together.
Yeah, sorry, Kira, we
the back
couldn't
of
go
my
any
hand.
earlier, by the way, because I get off work at 8:00, and so like it's already kind of pushing it with the whole time thing, and I work quite often, so it's hard for us to do the show any earlier. I'm sorry, but I don't know. I feel like okay. Let's just imagine for a second that MUFON, and I'm not saying I agree with this. Let's say MUFON is working with the FBI, DOD,
I'll just send you the
whatever.
document. Yeah.
Okay, let's say they are. Okay,
Yeah.
I don't think that they're doing it necessarily because they chose to do it. I think it may be probably a requirement. Like, hey, we're the FBI.
Who are you talking about? Like what level? Because I know the MUFON
It would have
investigators,
to
a
be.
lot
It
of
would
them were
have to
mad
be
and
from the
left.
top.
They're like,
It would have to be
because
from
they
the
know
top.
there's
Yeah.
government contracts with
No.
this
I think
McDonald's.
that if it is happening, and I don't know, but if it is happening, it has to come from the top. Like, you're not going to be able to go get these investigators. You said they're leaving. I think I've heard about that a couple times.
Why does the Secret Service get involved?
So well, there are potentials. One potential is that data is a part of understanding the phenomena, as they would say, for the sake of national security. There's clearly something interacting with humanity, engaging humanity, that is going into
But
people's
think of
bedrooms.
this, they already have access to that database. If they already have access to that database,
It's still
what showed
more.
up there,
It's still
they
more
don't
data.
want
Yeah, but you got to
anybody
take.
else
You
to
have to get
know.
cooperating data. Cooperating data is how you, or what do you call it? They cross-reference data. So, like, if I say there's a camera that viewed a crash wreck from this angle, there's another one that viewed it from this angle, and ad infinitum, and they have a full data analysis of a situation from multiple different perspectives and vantage points, which gives a clear picture of what happened. That would be more of a more preferable perspective than, hey, I was in the car and I got into a crash. You need those perspectives. You need the multiple different angles. You need the other vantage points, because that's going to give you a clear picture of what's actually going on. I think that it's not that they don't have the data. They don't know about the encounters. I think it's just more data to give a clear perspective. And so I'm not saying, again, I'm speculating. I'm totally, this is like, what if, right? That's what I think about that. So if, for example, that's what's happening, then I don't see the problem. There's been this saying, and listen, let's just assume that Tom DeLonge and Elizondo and all these people are right. Tom DeLonge claims, I'm not sure I'm on the train with this one, that they kept this secret for the greater good. That he says that, they're just regular people. They wanted to help the public. That's why they kept it secret, and they're dealing with this monumental problem that they're outmatched by. He likened the thing that the government is experiencing, at least not what people are experiencing, but at least what the government is experiencing, to a giant souped up heavy military tank, right? And it's got all this high-tech artillery connected to it, and it's all pointed at your house. And all of a sudden, you're sleeping in your boxers next to your family. Your wife's with you, and your kids are in another room, and everybody's sleeping. Your neighbors are all sleeping. And all of a sudden, you hear this loud bang. And you grab a baseball bat. And then you run outside, and you're still in your boxers, and all you have is this bat. And you're faced with this giant tank. And it's not doing anything. It's just sitting there, weapons ready, pointed at you. What do? You're outmatched. You're clearly outmatched. If you yell and alert your neighbors, it might start blasting. And guess what? It's going to start with you, and then your family, and then your neighbors, right? So you have to take that into, like, it's not doing anything, so I can't do anything either. But if I tell people, that might make it want to be aggressive. So I got, what am I going to, that's essentially the picture, the imagery that Tom DeLonge gave as to how the military is seeing this and is experiencing this phenomena. They're seeing it from that perspective. So if that's true, then it does make sense as to why, and not literally a tank, but I mean in terms of a looming threat that could potentially affect all of humanity. And not just like, hey, they're aliens, but hey, there's something that's like threatening to harm us. And here's another thing. Peter Levenda said just the other day, he suggested in that Engaging the Phenomena interview, he said that what if there's a you're being told every now and then you get a phone call and someone wait, the serial killer, the movies where there's a serial killer and they call you and they're like, I'm watching you, and they hang up and you're like, oh crap, there's someone watching.
Yeah.
Right? That's kind of like he likened the situation to potentially that, where every now and then the government gets a call, hey, I'm watching, and if you tell people, I'll end you and your whole civilization. If that's true, then telling us would be the worst thing you could possibly do for humanity. So I'm kind of getting this idea that at least from their perspective, they believe, I don't know if this is true, they believe that telling people will lead to the catastrophe that we're all afraid of. that saying that it's that, but even uttering a real of like that they're here, they're real, even saying that officially could cause some kind of a conflict that we're not ready for. So Kira
I've said
says,
it enough. I think
yeah.
it's gonna go right.
Kira says fear-based reaction by our military could be a catalyst to widespread panic in the masses, like War of the Worlds reaction. And honestly, hey, listen, there are a lot of potentials. What what bothers me about the whole threat thing is you keep saying there's a threat, there's a threat, there's a threat. Oh, national security,
Yeah.
national security. Okay, but like you're going on as if nothing's changed. So I don't understand what what do you mean by
Well,
threat? What does that even mean?
If the UFOs, they're obviously holding global air dominance. They have air superiority. There's nothing that our best black aces, which are Top Gun men, can outmaneuver. So at that point, don't you think if the government weren't well aware of something going on, they would have something like our Space Force or our Skunk Works in the motion? Like we have technology. They could at least otherwise, why are we chasing them? Why are
what do
we
you
doing
mean?
this? What are we doing?
I don't
Because
understand
they
what you mean.
clearly, there's nothing, I mean, they clearly hold global air dominance and air superiority over anything that we have.
Right.
So why the cat and mouse chase? Is what I'm wondering.
I don't know. That's what I
It's
don't
our government
understand.
has to be in on it. It's otherwise they would have missiles and lasers, and they wouldn't be pointed at other countries. They'd be
Yeah.
pointed at the sky.
So Polly says terrorism is a national security issue, and crafts could be new country tech. Intel is everywhere, including MUFON, in my opinion. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, it's interesting.
Northrop
We'll have to find an
Grumman.
expert.
Northrop Grumman posted a video on their Facebook page. Look it up, okay? Where they're like, there's an alien, a gray alien, standing in the middle of a bustling, moving crowd, and no one even notices it's there. It's like it can't be seen.
Well, how do you know it's not a costume?
Facebook, what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a real. They're showing like an animated alien. It's not real.
Oh.
The suggestion is that they're walking among us, like
yes.
that by Northrop Grumman. Why?
Mhm.
Why did you do that? So there was
Subliminal dissemination.
when I first started at SOR, there was a video. I remember there was this new super high tech, weapon system ready, artificial intelligent aircraft. It's like the leading. They put this thing on display for the world to see. And they're like, this is our brand, and let me tell you about the technology and what's so cool about it and how it's so much more advanced than our enemy, and we got this against our. Why would you do that? Why would you advertise your defense system, your brand new military fighter jet, to the world? They're all China's watching, Russia's watching, and you post this? Why? It was an entire event they had with this thing, okay? So they post this, Northrop Grumman. And I'm thinking, you post that, but people think that we've got alien spacecraft. Okay, I think we do. But I don't think we can operate those things like they're operating out in space. We're not doing all that.
Not.
So I think we got them sitting in a lab somewhere trying to figure out how they work. And we've been trying to figure them out for 1,000 years. I think we've reverse engineered some of the technology. And I believe that because that's what the whistleblowers say. Almost unanimously, the belief or the going understanding about what our knowledge of the craft and our capabilities are not even near the level of what these beings are doing. So, for example, I heard about
agree.
the.
Can you? I just have to run just for 30 seconds or so. Could you cover?
Sure. Yeah, sure. I can
You're
pontificate.
doing such a beautiful job.
Thank you so much. I try. It's just me and you, chat. So they say this. They did this whole release of that new fighter jet last year. I think it was the beginning of last year. And I'm thinking, seriously, this is we're putting out this information. We're we're talking about our defense systems. We're advertising to the world what we're capable of. Seriously? And then they go, we can't tell you about the balloon for national security reasons. What? There was a balloon you shot down. What do you mean? There was a UAP, quote unquote UAP, shot down. But you can't tell us? Why? Why can you tell us about your most sophisticated defense military? I'm pontificating, my friend. Why can't you tell us about, you can tell us about the most sophisticated fighter jet you got to date, but you can't tell us about a balloon? A drone? You stop it right now. You stop it. So, it's honestly a bunch of BS. And what frustrates me even further is that when people look at this reality, the reality being the government cover-up of encounters with unknown objects in our atmosphere or whatever, when they cover it up, they're simultaneously divulging weapon systems technology. What? What is going on here? What is happening right now? I don't understand. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it's kind of, I can understand why people get confused and why they get frustrated with the government and the military and the secrecy and all. I can see why they are skeptical about anybody from the intelligence community coming forward, and I can see why they don't trust the public outspoken narratives. I get it. I understand that. And if these people that I like, by the way, don't do something to dispel all the things that mislead us all, we're going to be in the same boat for the next 20 years if we survive. So, I'm concerned, man.
And that might be what they want too. That might exactly be what they want.
What is that?
That would make sense.
But yeah, I get, for the longest time I walked away from all of this because I was trying to find a way to make sense of the fact that I've been chasing the carrot on a stick. Talked about that last night. But then I realized, man, I want that carrot. I will chase it.
And you know what? We're getting information and able to put information together. Not everybody, gets to watch every minute of every show. And we've had asked our personal, we've gotten to ask our questions to a lot of the top people in this. And so chasing a carrot, dangling a carrot, I think I see us as having a huge responsibility than just to getting this information out there so people can make these decisions for themselves. UFOs are never going to be uniform. We're never going to see them the same way. They're subjective. And so my point of reflection, that's what I started calling them. I don't know. A point of reflection might be different than yours. It might take something totally different to stop me and, to reflect and obviously gear it in a little bit different of direction. But, I guess that's where I see things. We're not always. And that's why with this, I'm much more open. But there's still with experience, or there's still things that only experiencers know or can understand, and that part too. Picking up on that.
Yeah.
But I think we're the ones. I don't think it's the government that should even be trying this. But. So
I think, and this actually brings up another aspect to this whole thing that I think is interesting. I've come to see that maybe this is a perspective that many people in the UFO field or the UFO community have, that the truth is in the experiencer phenomenon. Sorry. That we can look to the government for answers, or we can look at the experiencer phenomena and find the answers. Can I ask you a question? How do you feel about David Jacobs?
Him, not one way or another. I really don't.
John Mack?
Do I think that they're very, do I think some of the main players that I see that have done the most work, they wouldn't be right up there with them, no.
You think that John Mack and David Jacobs are not at the top tier of UFO? John Keel?
Maybe him more, but
I
don't. I see the ones that are coming out because there's going to be everybody's kind of rearranging here, and I don't. At the end of the day, And think about it, like they've got things implemented in place. Like Stephen Out Bassett, I always ask him about the caretaker government because I know that it was written, even though they tried to delete it, and because he had a little bit different of a viewpoint back then. But from the day that the government says disclosure, and a lot of them are part of the Rockefeller Initiative going back, and that to me, I don't know, that creates a little bit of distrust.
Wait,
but
John Keel, David Jacobs, and John Mack are
no. I'm talking about like going to Stephen Bassett, who he's saying like that very next day the government comes out that we are going into a post-disclosure world. There's actual people out there that are just waiting for that to go to this post-disclosure world. And I'm just saying, I think when that happens, the focus will be in a different direction. Where I think that where we should be looking for this post-disclosure, because there's a whole plan in there that says 2 years time. I read it going back.
So what does a post-disclosure world look like to you? What do you think the agenda is?
To regain control of the narrative.
What would be the new
They're already
narrative?
preparing for it.
Yeah, but what would be the new narrative though? Like, what do you think the new narrative would be?
Free electricity.
I mean, Stephen Bassett, you know.
Bassett's not so much in the electricity as
he talks about alternative energies with the technology being revealed to the public.
They were all waiting for the free electricity.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of it for that technology.
You're talking about Doctor, you're talking about Stephen Gray. Okay.
I wasn't even gonna say it. I was not even gonna say it.
Coley. Okay.
No, it's in my head. Reminds me of that. Oh my god. Was there like 16 candles? Like dong dong. Like that's why I don't know why. Now Dr. Grizzer has like a little theme. Some symbols. I don't know.
That's great.
Yeah. So and the thing of it is like, I hate saying this, but I remember going back and like when no one would really talk to me, before I had any subscribers or anything, and I'd like reach out and I'd be like asking questions from somebody even like like myself now, but I'm telling you that the willingness and some of the people that I got to know very well on the top, and I talk for hours with them, I'm disappointed. I'm always disappointed.
That's actually
except for just a very few.
I can echo that. I've had some feeling where I'm like, man, I was expecting, like, I don't know, maybe to have some kind of revelation after this experience, and the only revelation I got was that, like, I don't know anything more than what everybody else knows from talking to some of these people.
So what does that tell you? Because I said there's no step 2. I asked if I'm like, okay.
I will say this though, Coley, and I'm sure you probably had these experiences too. I have talked to some notable people who've told me some very interesting things.
Oh yeah.
But none of which that isn't in the public. Like, it's all public knowledge. For example, the idea that there is a veil between us and another reality, and sometimes that veil is a little bit thinner in certain places. I'm using this as an analogy, but sometimes things come through. Like, sometimes we experience these things, and that the fear that the government has is because that if they tell us, there will be an increase in those experiences and it will be out of control. That there will be essentially an invasion of the type we can't even imagine. You ever see Ghostbusters?
The Marshmallow Puff Man?
Imagine if Ghostbusters happened and the villain succeeded. Like the old Ghostbusters, right? Where that
I think that happened in World War II, so I can understand.
Right. Listen, I will not fight you on that one. That one, I think there's a lot to talk about with that too. We'll have to save that for another time because we don't have enough time for that. But there's in the Ghostbusters, we all know the story. There's a portal that's trying to be opened by one of the evil ghosts who's trying to release all the ghostly figures into our world. And here's the thing about that, right? What if they need us to be aware of them to even show up in this world? What if they need us to just believe that they're real? What if believing that they're real is what gives us the experiences that we have? What if telling the world would open up a portal that our consciousness is, our awareness, that conscious awareness is opening up a rift, right? That's being created to allow them into our world now, because now our consciousness is aware and believes that they're there. And that would bring in not just them, but all kinds of things that are far beyond what we can imagine. And that
CERN's
rift.
in charge of that.
Hmm?
CERN and their particle
listen,
smashing.
we could go all day about the weird technologies and experiments that have been done, and the allegations of like
to think something like that wasn't opening would almost be.
But see, the thing is, what if we could open the portals ourselves? What if we can peel the veil back, just with our conscious thoughts? Now, if humanity,
it's a lot of work though.
Right, but not for 8 billion people.
If they all joined in together.
Yeah. So if everyone's consciousness is essentially now directing their energy towards opening this portal, not on purpose, to not like open the portal, but like what if just the awareness opens the portal, and it the rift, so to speak, causes this rift, and then all of a sudden these things are now wreaking freaking havoc on humanity, not eating people and blowing up cities, going into people's bedrooms and giving them experiences they can't control all the time, seeing Bigfoot everywhere, being terrified by ghosts and ghouls and demons and all these other things, and everything, like all these things just bombard humanity all at once. The ancient gods are in the sky, and no, there's no cities being destroyed. We would destroy ourselves.
I wonder if, but I wonder if the majority of the people would be like, oh yeah, I've seen those holographic kitties on the top of China's buildings, or the dolphins.
We don't have
real,
enough. There isn't enough energy in the world to be able to cause
seems to differ from Dr. You Know Who and Stephen Greer, and that they believe free energy. I worked at a place there was free energy that ran an electric trolley over 100 years ago.
Okay.
I would tell this and I'd be like,
so listen, Greer has a lot of work. Again, he's putting work.
What he has and why Greer collected it to stay alive. That he put in there as his insurance.
Think that Greer is cocky, pun intended. I think that he
wears big shoes. I don't know.
Cold. I think that he ruins himself. You know, like the government doesn't need to ruin him. He ruins himself. So there's no the chat stop. Let me focus. Let me cook. Stop, chat, stop. So, wow. So, I think that, I think Greer ruins himself. Like, when I watched his last documentary, it was amazing. It was really good. Seriously. What was his it was it was one of my favorite documentaries of all time. It was very inspiring. It was very motivational. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. And his presence ruined the whole thing. He ruined the entire thing. Like, it was just him just pleasuring himself for 2 hours long on camera. Just like the lost it's called the Lost Century. He's just like, going at it full force. And it was like it was like
are we talking about documentary?
And documentary?
Or something different here.
The documentary.
Oh, okay. By himself. Jeez.
I love working with you.
Oh my boy. They call them documentaries these days. He kept going. He's going for hours. I was like, oh my god.
Oh my gosh.
Is he ever gonna stop?
I'm gonna.
Had to cut him off. Like, Jesus.
Oh no. Wow.
Never will I see that
Welcome to the
again.
Coley and
Okay.
Marquis show, ladies and gentlemen.
I hate to even ask the last documentary's name was.
I'm literally in tears. I can't.
Oh my god.
Oh, it hurts. It hurts so bad.
That's what they said, I'm sure. Oh my god.
I can't breathe.
Oh.
Wait. Stop. No more.
Oh. How do you recover from that?
Oh my gosh. We're gonna go viral. Oh my gosh.
Oh. Yeah.
I am literally in tears. That was the best moment of live TV ever. All right, so as I'm literally crying my eyes out right now with laughter, I don't remember what I was talking about.
I won't forget.
It hurts.
Like,
I think I'm gonna get a 6-pack by tomorrow morning. All right, so the documentary is called The Lost Century, and you guys should watch it. And when you're watching it, you're gonna literally laugh the whole time now because we've ruined it for you. Oh, seriously, that hurts. Oh man.
Probably felt like the Lost Century.
I have to. Yeah, it felt like definitely. So,
2 hours.
so yes, that is what we're gonna have to move on. I can't. I am literally. I am so. Oh man, that was so good, Coley. Coley, that was like the best. That was the best follow up of like my entire time streaming ever. That was awesome. Oh man, thank you so much for that, Coley, for the win. Yo, Coley for the win. Bravo. Bra freaking vel. Oh man, that was.
I had to ask. Your description, now you gotta re-listen to it how you're describing the
I have to go
documentary.
back now. Now
And
I'm
be
literally
like,
gonna
oh my
I'm gonna
goodness,
clip
that's the best
myself
part.
for this one. Somebody clip me.
That's the best part.
So it's literally it was a great all seriousness, it was a great documentary. I loved it. I thought it was very inspiring. It got me emotional. I was like, oh man, this is like the Greer I remember, not the new one. So you guys got to see that. Listen, go on X, look up Thomas. What's Thomas's last name? His Twitter name? I'm gonna look it up here. Thomas Foster. Thomas. Let me see here. What's his name? X. Thomas Fessler. If you go on his Twitter feed, that's where it's at. Thomas Fessler. Yeah, Thomas L. Fessler on Twitter, or Thomas Fessler, all one word. And it's back. It's pretty far back. I don't know if it's still on there though, because that was a pretty salacious thing to say. Salacious. Why did I say that? It was a pretty inflammatory thing to say. Dang it, flaming. You know what I mean.
Yeah. The Freudian slips.
A couple of them back to
I
back.
totally get that.
Yeah, it was crazy. And he posted pictures. He got receipts, yo. So prepare yourself.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I
Yeah.
hope it's still up. 'Cause,
Yeah,
I mean, I can't find him.
know what Cole's gonna be doing tonight.
Let's
That's it.
look it for a Greer.
Oh my gosh.
Into this mystery.
Yeah, it's
I'll-
not a mystery.
Maybe I'll
So
contact him. but I
hit him
can't
up.
find
Yeah, hit him up because he's I talked
How
to
are you
once
spelling his last name?
Fessler. I don't think he'll ever talk to me. I debated him on live.
Oh,
once. I don't-
Thomas L. Fessler.
Yeah, I don't think he'll talk to me anymore.
Mm.
We debated some things on Dave's show, and it didn't go well. I thought it did, but I don't think he did. I don't think he was very happy. I forget what he said. I think you're. I told him he's a bit misguided, and he yelled at me and said, "No, you're misguided." And I thought it was fun, but not everybody thinks that like how we go back and forth. I think it's fun. You think it's fun. Not everybody feels the same way. I think he felt like I was maybe being a little contentious, but I was just having fun, man. I enjoy the back and forth and the disagreements.
Yeah, no. But if you're gonna step into the arena, that's exactly what I love about this show. Is that if people come on the show, they should know that they're gonna be in that arena,
Yeah.
and that's where the truth really comes out.
Yeah.
But like before, say that, and I hurt somebody's feelings, and I'm
Yeah, we don't
that's not
filter
my
people here. We
problem.
don't filter people. We do try to, like, we don't curse and stuff like that because we were asked not to. But I'm not gonna monitor my guests. Like, if the guests want to say what they want to say, as long as they're not being completely vulgar, like they're just talking and expressing themselves in a conversational way. What am I gonna say? Like, they know we're live.
And they just said it was just said keep down to a minimum, and that's what I try to do for myself. But
same,
I don't.
same
Yeah,
here.
we don't. There's none of that.
We literally don't have any
Going
censor, which is
on.
awesome. And listen,
Love
we've
it.
done these 3-hour shows, and like, just this is kind of what we talked about this before. This is the kind of format that I would prefer. Just talking to people and talking to each other and just pontificating and going off the rails and having a good time together with you guys in the chat, joining in on it. So like, yeah, it's cool. Like the chat though,
Yeah,
I do.
Mike
yeah.
Barra, he had really good feedback. He sent
He
a
did.
message and he's like, that was great. I really enjoyed the show. He's like, you guys are very good at what you do and the questions you asked. And so he was like,
Awesome.
he was very, very, so that's cool to hear that kind of feedback back.
Yeah, that's what we want. Like, we want people to feel welcome, and they want them to feel like they can just talk to us. Like, we're people too.
And
We
have
just want to have a
fun,
conversation.
too. Yeah,
Have a
this
good time.
doesn't have to be all like, serious and no, you like to have fun too. And sometimes if you can't joke about some of that stuff, it's like too serious. And so it's a way to cope and deal with it.
Yeah.
You're ready to
Yeah.
revisit it, or sometimes it's like a lot of people are worried about. I never, like just know if something's your trigger, it's your trigger. Just tune it out for 10 minutes and come back. I mean,
That's
but
good.
it's
That's good.
I don't. Yeah, I just don't. I think people have that. They should have that understanding and know that that's what they do, and not shut a whole TV show down.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that too. By the way, take a few minutes away and then come back. Like think about it, let it
We
stew,
don't
come
mind.
back. Yeah, that was great. But we are at the end of the show, guys and gals, and I'm demigods and everything in between. And I'm kind of sad. This is so much fun. I had a lot of. Coley made it really really fun here at the end too. So, thank you guys for being here. We love you. We appreciate you. And we'll see you next week. We got some more stuff coming. So, stay tuned and be ready for more conversations with Coley and Marquise on the Coley and Marquise Show. Follow us on Facebook at Coley and Marquise Talk Show. Sorry guys, that's how I set it up. Follow us on all our socials. Also, we are on the Helix Rock radio station. You can download the app Helix Rock Radio on Apple and Android, so don't forget to do that. The website is actually called, let me see here, it's called rockradio.live. So it's the radio station isn't as commonly known, the name itself. The website, I'm sorry, is like hard to where's Helix Rock Radio? It's rockradio.live. That's why. We're going to start posting that in the comments in the description, so you guys can follow us there too. We're live on the radio too, guys. And I know we got radio listeners.
If you're listening and driving, love.
Yeah, we love you guys. Thank you for listening to us and having us in your ear for hours and hours at a time. So there's that. And with that, my friends, thank you all for being here. We're going to catch y'all next week. Peace.
Oh boy. As long as we don't forget, you try to joke it. Sounds good. Peace.
Marquise and Coley, they're ready to go. Talking about aliens, UFOs, and the unknown. The talk show is buzzing, the excitement grows. Exploring the mysteries that the universe holds. Get ready to dive into the world of the paranormal. Welcome to the Coley and Marquis Show, where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. where we uncover the secrets that nobody knows. From aliens to UFOs, we're ready to explore. Strap in.